Thank you very much. Hello, welcome to Directly to You, episode 167. We're recording it live. And who are we? We're AJ from fanatixfour and Parker.
Both of us apparently,
from fanatixfour.
according
you
to
didn't
Zoom.
let me finish. You
I'm
stupid. Oh, actually, you know what? That was a gooder bit. That was a gooder bit. That was a better bit. Your bit's better than mine. We're both AJ today. But we're both from fanatixfour. You can support both of us by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour, twitch.tv/fanatixfour, and giving us $4.99. And if you're on Twitch specifically, it doesn't even have to be your $4.99. It could be Jeff Bezos' $4.99. And everybody knows he doesn't need $4.99. So give it to us. Just, you know what I mean? In exchange for that, you can hang out and listen to us record directly to you live in our Discord, because you'll be in the supporters only channels. And you can also, whenever I get back to doing Nuzlocks and I stop hating Pokemon for Nuzlocks, you can name Nuzlocke Pokemon and you get priority access to whenever I play video games on twitch.tv/fanatixfour. You know? Also, I want to start doing like just regular hangouts in the Discord with supporters and stuff. We did one the day before yesterday.
Nice.
We hung out, we talked. It was supposed to be a karaoke thing, but Lee was supposed to be there and we didn't do it. But don't tell Lee, we're trying to guilt trip him for not coming. Nice. So we're going to tell him that we did it, but actually didn't do it. But anyway, yeah, you can just also join the regular Discord for the free. Click the link in the description. It's a good old time. Nice people. You can talk about video games and stuff. But before that, we're going to talk about video games. Are you playing video games?
I am playing video games.
Sick.
Yeah, one of them is from the indie world that we'll be talking about a little bit later, but I'm just going to talk about the game now anyway, because whatever.
You got the email from Jack.
Jack
did emailed me 2 codes, and I don't know if
I think it was the same email to both of us.
I don't know if he just forwarded the same, because I got the email twice.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to like play it. But I did see that, and then I saw you tweet that you're playing it, and I was like, he had to have gotten it.
Yeah. Well, so what's funny is while I was watching the Indie Direct, I was like, this game looks pretty cool. I mean, again, we'll talk about all the games in a minute, but I was like, this game looks pretty cool. And then at the end, I saw it was Coat Sync in the bottom corner. I was like, this is cool. And I can reach out.
Email.
And so I emailed, or I messaged Jack on Twitter, and I was like, hey, you probably know what I'm reaching out about. Number 1, hope you're doing good. Number 2, Islanders, maybe, pretty much. And he was like, check your email, man. So I was like, that's awesome. So yeah, no, I've been playing it. It's only $5 too. So like for anybody, if you want to play it, you probably have enough gold coins for it. But it was, it's very fun and very relaxing. I only played it a little bit last night. But as of last night, I was number 776 on the leaderboards, which I was very proud of myself of. And my score was like, I don't know, 2000 something. And then I was like, you know what? What's the top scores? Like the people that are just way up there. It's like 500,000. I mean, literally it maxes out at 499,999. So I was like, okay, I kind of felt like, man, I'm doing so well at this. So like, is there going to be replay value if I'm just like so good at the game? Which is very dumb, dude. Obviously.
Broken, a god. Everybody else needs to take the game back to the store. Their dog.
Yeah. I mean, but no, I don't think
you know. Do you know about that bit? I don't think you're there for that.
Zero clue what it is.
Wow, that's crazy that you're not there for that bit. I'm not explaining the bit. I refuse. Trav knows about the bit.
He does.
But me, what am I playing? I'm playing a little Pokemon Unite. I play Pokemon Unite with Sierra and Pete and Steve and Chewy, and we got destroyed. We did not win at all.
Really?
Not even a little bit. It was fun, but it wasn't fun at the same time. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Do you feel like the other team was people that knew each other, or playing together?
That's what the theory is that like, since we're all grouped together, it's also people that are grouped together. Yeah. But also I think a lot of it is just like, this is the first time that we played and we don't know how everybody else plays, and Steve literally never played the game. Yeah. So it's like
yeah. And having listened to their podcast, it sounds like Chewy was pretty new at it too. Like he'd played a little bit, but was kind of learning the ropes. So makes sense.
So like I got the gist that like Sierra knows what's up, Pete knows what's up. I know enough. Like I'm not a MOBA player, but I'm pretty good at learning how to play a game if I care about the game.
Yeah.
And it's Pokemon, dude. You think I'm not going to know how to play a Pokemon game? You're crazy.
But you got destroyed, so that's a lot of fun.
we did get destroyed. It wasn't great. Zapdos, man. Zapdos is very important. If you don't get Zapdos,
that's what I hear. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I've seen the one time that I played, we didn't get Zapdos, and we literally lost like by an extra 600 points in the last 20 seconds.
Yeah,
just because of Zapdos.
That's rough. Yeah. Usually, so like when you can see when it's like, oh, we lost this literally because of Zapdos. If you lost by like under 400 points, it's like, oh yeah, that was probably Zapdos. Like, because Zapdos you can get like at least 200 off of Zapdos, easy. But that happened. That was fun. But other than that, I'm playing Smash Brothers.
Yep. And you had a trip last week.
Exactly. I was the first time I'm back since New York. I was playing Smash Brothers locally with Lee. It was a good time. I had fun. Like actually do things, and the game didn't say no.
What was what all misadventures happened in New York?
Like period, like everything, like
I don't know, just whatever things that are interesting to tell.
Birthday, and that was interesting. I told you a bit about that, but not going into that here.
Right.
But it was, we went to Fogo de Chao. We ate meats. I was sad because I didn't get my limeade. I wouldn't limeade because Fogo de Chao has some freaking bussin'. I told Bob about the tiers. Bussin' is like S tier, and then bussin'. This was also during the New York trip, but this was the last thing that we did. I told him about the tiers. Bussin' is just like it's good, it's the Bob. It's good that stuff, and then not bussin' is just it's not good. It wasn't. Limeade from Fogo de Chao is bussin'. But I didn't get to get it. All I got was freaking some type of alcoholic beverage. Go ahead. And water.
Rip.
Big rip. But also I had meats and stuff. But I played video games. I played freaking Smash Bros. It was great. Nice. And then I think that was actually the only game I played was just Smash Brothers. When I was in New York anyway, was Smash Brothers. Because I did go to Bob's house, but we didn't play games. We went on Bob's roof. We ate pizza in the dark because the light wasn't working. And then like as soon as we got up to like leave, we were like, we're getting ready to the freaking light on the roof turned on. It was very stupid. I got my hot chocolate. So people that are getting ready to campaign and burn Bob's house down didn't have to do it. I can put them at ease that he finally made the hot chocolate.
He did it.
We didn't get Korean food, which is that is not normal. It's almost like I didn't go. Every time I go to New York, I get Korean food with Bob. Every time.
Fake trip, honestly. Exactly. Maybe it was a mirage of a a just not a real
trip. Didn't happen.
Yeah. Trev said Bob's lucky. So I mean,
he didn't go to Starbucks either, which like that basically means that I didn't see Bob. Yeah. Like it's normal to not get Korean food if I saw Bob somewhere else, New York. That's just a New York thing. But every time I see Bob anywhere, we go in a Starbucks at least once. But we didn't do that. So, also the trip just was fake. I made it up in my head, I guess.
Maybe it was just a what if trip, It's like what if New York trip. But
that's for the end of the
I haven't seen it yet, actually. So
I was about to say, we can't even do that. We can't even do the Marvel podcast at the end of our Nintendo podcast.
Nope. We can do it next week, but this week I did not. This week, So
I'm pretty sure Smash Brothers and Pokemon Unite are the only games I played.
Cool.
I do want to play Islanders though. I do want to.
Yep. No, it's cool. I mean, and so theoretically, you could play it on my accounts, and maybe we could do something with the code for like supporters or something. Even I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, it's fun. It's like because I guess I never really explained what it is. People saw it in the indie world, but it's like a city building sim kind of thing. But it's super relaxing, where basically like you have different kinds of things, like a city center. And then if you build a house or a mansion or whatever around a city center, then they get points from each other and that kind of thing. But you can't build another city center within a certain, or like if you build it too close to another one, then it'll get negative points because you're too close. So it's like this thing of like trying to make everything kind of balanced out and having certain things be far away from each other so that the right things like get buffs from the right things that are around them and stuff.
Like it's like a nerdier SimCity.
I guess, yeah, but it's like super, there's no like people doing anything, there's none of that. It's literally just the like building the little infrastructure things, but it's also pretty easy come easy go, because like through as you play, you start out with this tiny little island and you build up some points, and once you get a certain amount of points, you can keep building on that island if you want, but it's going to get full of stuff. So you can, it'll once you get a certain amount of points, it'll unlock a next island that your points keep going, but you start from scratch on that next island. And so you kind of keep moving up and they get bigger and bigger. And that's how you get like the tons and tons of points, is you end up getting really big islands that take a lot longer to like kind of complete or whatever. So yeah, but it's like music is just kind of, you know, lo-fi beats type atmosphere. And there's no timer, which is really good for me. I feel like if there were any kind of, even a timer saying how long it was taking, not like a countdown timer, but a count up timer, still hate it. Like I would not be here for that. So yeah, because I find myself putting pressure on myself to do something quickly, and I'm like, I don't have to. So then I don't, and I chill out. So it's fun time.
Nice, dude.
Yep. It's a fun time. Other than that, yeah, definitely check it out. Again, yeah, and it's for anybody else. It's $5. It's super cheap. Like,
oh, that's the other thing. I got a freaking PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah.
It's so dumb. It's
from
so
Jackson's
dumb,
mom's house or whatever.
I already hate it. No, I didn't get it from Jackson's house. I told Jackson. So Jackson, he DM'd me, or I DM'd him, and I'm like, question mark? Like, where's my freaking $800 bundle, dude? And he's like, you want to just come get it at this point? I'm like, I'm not walking around Manhattan with a PlayStation 5 bundle. No. Yeah. I'm not doing that. So all right. So he shipped it like the day I was leaving, I think. Either that or like the day before, because it got there the day that I got to New York. But yeah, that was the thing. And setting it up was a nightmare. I talked about this in our little Discord hangout. So Trev and Enda both heard this story, but TLDR, I hate almost everything about this console. But Ratchet is kind of cool sometimes when it works. Yeah. Did you see that Twitter clip? I posted it on Twitter.
The two of them.
Yes, it happened twice in the same level. Yeah, but you know, high quality, you know, play greater or whatever PlayStation.
Something I couldn't tell. The end of the clip, is the game frozen or is the video?
I just was in awe.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, what's going on here?
I was just like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like the first time I was like, okay, maybe that was my fault. But then it happened again. And I don't even know how. It could be like that's some like freaking abuse. Like that's an abusive relationship response. But it's so dumb. The game's dumb, but like, you know, Sony can do no wrong though, right? Anyway, video games.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm playing some more Skyward Sword. I beat the first temple.
I forgot that game existed.
I
gotta go back to that eventually.
Yeah, it's a good old time, you know. I made my way towards the second area, so I'm still like super early in it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it for sure. I am still a fan of the classic Zelda formula, and I just overlook the things that we talk about that are like, yeah, technically maybe not the best game design, to be like, go over there. And I'm like, I literally just went over there to do that, but I guess I'll go over now that you told me that whole thing. I just don't really care. It's fine. It's doesn't mean it's good, but I am fine to just overlook it. Otherwise though, good time.
It's stupid and I hate it.
I don't think I played anything else though this week, really. It's been really busy. And that's it. But we're probably going to be playing more, you know, as time comes along, or whatever.
World.
Yep. So Indie World happens this week, and I think, I mean, I don't know about you, I would say this is probably the best Indie World Direct.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
up there.
I can't say that I don't think that, but I don't know. if I think that. Like, it was definitely a very good indie world. And I like, it would probably be better if I was watching it like in real time, but I like skimmed through it and then went through all the announcements after like that day, because I don't know, I was doing something and I was like, I can't watch that right now.
I mean, I will say too, it definitely the presenters are so awkward.
You mean like generally, or
so
like this time?
Awkward.
I mean, like usually they
this
do
time too.
What's up, everybody? It's Andy World, and we're going to tell you about the new game that you're going to play on your Nintendo Switch system.
Yep. And
the doctor is there, and he told you not to jump off their bed because the monkeys will hit their head. It's coming out this August on the Nintendo Switch eShop for $3.99.
It's Inda said she's ready to present. Yeah, 100%. They're just so awkward. Like, and part of it is the stuff that's written for them. Like, there's no good way to say some of those things, but then it feels even hammier. But it is what it is. It's part of the whole thing at this point. I like the mixture of seeing the developers some of the time, but not every time, because there was the first time they did that, I feel like every game had a developer interview, and that was too much. But this one, like,
that goes into like RPG explain the systems territory. It's
because then you have 3 times that it's like shows the trailer, here's the game mechanics, and then has them talk about it, and then show the trailer again with our presenters talking over. Like, that's we don't need all of that. So, but I think one of the reasons why this one, I would argue, might be, it doesn't necessarily mean it has the best collection of games ever, but so often the games we've literally never seen, so we can't tell in the direct, is this good or is this not good? So in retrospect, I'm sure we could pick out one that's like, this had the best collection of games. But this one, I think, because more of the games were ones that we knew about, there was a little bit more like hype as we were watching it, of like, oh, it's this again, as opposed to like, I don't know what Bomb Chicken is, but maybe it's a good thing, so all that said, I would say, just like enjoyment wise or something, it was good. Who even cares about whether it's the best? But let's talk about some of the games that they're talking about.
Let's do it.
I've got these in order.
We got Walmart brand Jet Set Radio. It looks sick because Jet Set Radio is pretty cool, and this one has skateboards, and that's neat.
Yeah, honestly, never played Jet Set Radio, so
here's your chance.
It just looks cool. That's that's fun. This is probably one where, honestly, a lot of things are like 3D kinds of things. There's more room for things to be cool and different, but also more room for things to be janky and not good.
Yes.
So this is the kind of thing where, like, wait and see. It has potential to be really cool.
On a skateboard seems super awkward. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Like on skates, that seems doable. You got way more mobility.
Yeah.
But on a skateboard, it seems like it's cumbersome. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll let you know when I get super, super good at skateboarding.
When you start doing graffiti.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts about that, but like, cool. Glad that, fans of Jet Set get something new. The next one, Toem. It's like Pokemon Snap meets isometric black and white game thing. I don't have a ton of thoughts about this one either. It is what should I share my screen?
Sure.
Oh, there's so many ads on this website. Like, so many.
Don't do it
then I don't really want to.
No, they're not paying us.
Yeah, so in any case, there's that. Toem, I don't know, do you have a lot of thoughts? I don't.
No, it's literally the part about Pokemon Snap that I care about the least. I don't understand why like publishers see the Pokemon Snap formula and they're like, people must love taking photos, and then they make this generic game about taking photos.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe there's more to it. I need to go back and watch it to understand what the purpose of the taking pictures is. Cause like I've seen other games do picture taking stuff interestingly. Like there was a game called Nuts that came out in February, I think, where you're taking pictures of squirrels, but like they're doing sneaky things and you're trying to catch them in the act. Like that's a fun premise. It's not just like, let's take a picture of squirrels for the sake of taking pictures of squirrels, but I don't remember if this one's interesting or not. So Oh, sorry. He said, I do love taking photos. Don't see the appeal of Snap though. Interesting.
Yeah, but we already know
backwards.
you have a lot of stupid opinions already. We already understand that. No, I'm joking.
Next up, we saw Loop Hero, which
I see a lot of people talking, or I've seen a lot of people talk
Mhm.
about this game. This is one of those games that was like, yo, I can't wait until this comes to the Switch because I love it on PC, but it's on my PC and I want to play it on my couch or whatever. I know nothing about it beyond that. It's just a game that a lot of people are interested in.
I mean, I truly don't either. It's got elements that speak to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Roasted on national radio. Ouch. Said sorry. Also, we gotta pace the chat. I don't want to like mess up. I don't want to make it weird for people.
I know. I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Like when it's
Well, you guys can keep chatting as much as you want.
100%.
Just letting you know, like we'll pick out times to respond.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, Loop Hero. I don't know. It's RPG. It's got some card based. I don't know enough about it, and like I don't get the gameplay loop yet to be able to
gameplay loop.
Hey, didn't even think about it. So we'll see. I'll watch the trailer again and get a better idea just from that. But aesthetically, it's got some things that I'm interested in, and it's Devolver, and like we know Devolver a little bit, so
they make good stuff.
So yeah.
Speaking of that, I gotta check out Boomerang X because they did send me a code for that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But yeah, they'll probably send a code for that. They usually, because I filled out the thing for they sent me a thing for like press list or whatever, and they send every Switch game, but they don't send anything else because I only fill it out for Switch.
Yeah, right.
Which makes sense because I probably wouldn't play the other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
I need to we need to just like get more relationships with developers or with publishers like that
yes.
and CodeSync or whatever, where because there's a bunch, especially like Team 17, for example. I mean, they're maybe not as big as Devolver, but they're pretty big for an indie studio. But every Team 17 game that I look at, I'm like, honestly, probably pretty good. That's a pretty good game. So like a bunch of those would be nice to just like know that we could find out and talk about and stuff. But because honestly, here's the thing: what I would be saying to myself or asking me as someone who's not me is like, well, whatever, just obviously dumb buy the game and play the game. Yes, except for there are so many games that I want to buy and play, and ones that I already have paid for and I'm not playing and I'm trying to get to my backlog, that it means I'm not going to talk about the games in a timely manner.
Right. And it's also not just the thing of like, I want to play this game because I want to play this game. It's like, I want to play this game because I want to be able to talk about this game for the people that ask for my opinions on said game,
So, I mean, honestly, in that realm, so like there are pretty much the games that I'm like, oh, that does look interesting. And if I weren't to get a review code, I just would play it later, the same way that I buy games for myself later. But it just like, at that point, it's less, content and less helpful to everybody else, honestly, who like, becomes old news. So it behooves somebody, I don't know, there's behooving involved if I can get a code for it, because then I can talk about it in a timely manner, which hopefully will help the developer or the publishers maybe sell more copies. I don't know. I mean, at least we got Alec got Divinity Original Sin. We got a sale on that. So I'm happy. My life's mission is accomplished. Alec, tell me if you like it or not. It's important to my soul. Moving on.
This game's about
tides.
Oh no, I skipped one. I skipped it.
They talked about the prequel to this as if I knew what the prequel I mean what the first far was, and I don't know what the first far is.
Yeah, they do that a lot though.
But yeah,
they did that with the freaking King game or whatever it's called.
King's Bounty too.
Yeah, that game.
Yeah. I mean, that although they did say from the developers of Heroes Might and Magic, and I'm like, I actually do know what Heroes of Might and Magic is.
I don't think I knew what that was.
Yeah, it's one of those where like that and Quest 64 and a couple other ones. I thought I just had dreamed. Maybe I was like, these must not be real games, because I played them at my friend's house like twice when I was 9. And I was like, I remember thinking those are the coolest games, but like, you think most things are cool if you're over at a friend's house and they show it to you. So, Quest 64 is a prime example of like, apparently garbage game, but I didn't know. Like, I was at a friend's house. So yeah. And also fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have any opinions on this game?
I don't know. I mean, if that's the description, I don't care about this game, dude.
I mean, I don't know about this game. This game, it says in a post-apocalyptic world. Oh, or do you mean King's Bounty?
I'm talking about this game, the puzzle adventure. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't know if I care.
It says in a post-apocalyptic world, this puzzle adventure sees players embark on a journey to find a new home. Players are tasked with captaining a sea-foaming vessel, exploring abandoned homes, and fending for themselves amidst mighty storms. This lonely world is incredibly touching and comes to Nintendo Switch early 2022. Yeah, I don't know. It's
I gotta look at the trailer for a lot of this stuff, because I feel like maybe seeing the trailer could change me on it, but just the description of this game specifically, I'm like,
yeah, I don't know. It's not necessarily hitting home for me. I think the direct got a lot better as it went also too.
I can.
So because the beginning I was like, it's kind of, whatever. Like the next game, I'm sure some people are
this game is what I was talking about when I started the thing. This is a Bob game. This game is for Bob. Not because Bob plays these types of games, but because it is a weeb thing and it's about coffee. So it's a Bob game and he has to stream it.
And it's, like, I mean, he has like a past with like emo stuff, just as I do.
He has a past with death.
Yeah, as do we all, no, Necrobarista Final Pour. I don't know, is it? Yeah, it's a visual novel.
The first pour?
They just skipped it. They said, this is your last one.
The first and last.
Oh,
first and last.
At that point, the first shall be last and the last shall be first, because it's the same thing, It's
true. This is
if there's only one,
it's glass half full, glass half empty.
So, and then they went to a section where they said, here's some updates on some games we already know about, which is funny that they put these in that section, but then later there were more games that we already knew about and they split those up. But these ones were all available today. And they were all in prior directs. Honestly, didn't know if these games had even come out yet, or two of them at least. One of them I did know that it hadn't. Garden Story.
Yo, they can't do that. Somebody copyright Story. Somebody copyright
from what
Story. So it's like we don't get the bait and switch of like, yo, is this a sports story game?
Oh,
like,
I see what you're saying. I was like, what's the but no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I remember seeing this one and people were pretty excited about it. I would need to see reviews and stuff to find out if it's any good.
I like what it looks like. I like the art.
Yeah, it's apparently kind of 2D Zelda-y and kind of but with it's like a top-down pixel adventure. I've been sort of following it, or I've been following people on Twitter that follow it, so I'm not really sure why I keep seeing so much about it, but it looks cool. So
I like the style.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Main character's name is Concord, which is kind of great.
He's a great.
Next up, Boyfriend Dungeon.
I got an email for this game.
Did you?
I did.
Like with a code?
Yes. The code that they sent me though was a Steam code, and they're like, "Let me know if you want a Switch code." And that was just one of the emails that I didn't get a chance to get to.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants a Steam code, I got you at least on that.
Yeah.
But I might have to hit them up for the Switch.
I'm not gonna lie, romance options in games or whatever, like I already didn't love it in Fire Emblem, where it was like pretty secondary. I was like, I'll do it because here it is. And like kind of same in like Stardew Valley or whatever, where it's like, yeah, okay. So it being like the main thing.
Deny your farm man of love.
It's not specifically for me, but I'm sure for some people this is like the perfect combination of
I
things.
saw a lot of people very
And
excited about this game.
I'm very happy for them. I'm so glad that it finally came out. Alex said you don't want to date your axe, Parker. My guitar, maybe, that's an axe, but yeah.
You can't. Oh, well, actually, no, that's not true. I was about to say you can't murder people with your guitar, but you probably could.
Yeah.
Probably could.
Depends on which guitar, maybe. My acoustic, probably not.
If you try hard enough. Any guitar.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, use it backwards and you like the tuning pegs or something. You could do some damage with that. But yeah, Boyfriend Dungeon. There it is. It happened,
dude.
And speaking of happening, Axiom Verge 2 finally happens.
Yo,
people have been waiting a trillion years.
It happened. It's here. Everybody rejoice. Sick.
I mean, I haven't played the first one, so I would need to go back and do that.
You weren't as excited. Yo,
so I was excited for other people that I knew were like super excited.
It's the 3,000th installment of the Metroidvania saga on the Nintendo Switch.
Yep. It's true.
It's the 3,000th
so
Metroidvania that we got before we got a Metroid game.
Man, Max needs to do like a final list of like
every Metroidvania.
Best Metroidvania before Metroid comes. But yeah, I'm excited that this is here.
A Metroidvania tier list.
Yes.
On the Switch.
Honestly, I mean, we could just get him to join. We could do a video of that. Nobody.
We could
specifically want to watch it, but
it'd probably be a lot of time.
Yeah, true. And also, I wouldn't have actual opinions on a lot of things. I would just have to
so it would just be Max's video.
Yeah, pretty much. Which I mean, Max could do a video. It's whatever.
I mean, it's up to Max.
Yeah. But yeah, great that it's here. I hope maybe they'll do like a double pack one day, and then I'll get both of them or something. But I don't know, just haven't played it yet or whatever, but I mean, definitely it was a hype thing. It ended a whole direct beforehand. So that's, a big deal.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to look up Axiom Verge 2. What's the Metacritic on it? This is taking longer to look it up then. Oh, not as great. It's 74. So
for the first one?
Oh, but it's got no for the second one.
Oh, okay.
But that's out of 5 reviews. Wow. So not saying a lot. Nintendo Life gave it a 90. Nintendo Enthusiast gave it an 85. Metro Game Central gave it a 60. So that's definitely pulling it down a lot. And jeuxvideo.com gave it a 70.
Okay, so there's no like GameSpots, no
IGN gave it wasn't on Metacritic for whatever reason, but IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. So I mean, still, a 7 is like it's a good game, but it's I was expecting it to be like critically acclaimed kind of thing. Maybe also for what it's worth, I don't know. Fez recently came out and people were still like, this is still so good. But I do wonder if there's some of those games that's like the classic, like early indie games that have just been one-upped now in the same way that like this one-upped Metroid in certain ways or something like that. But now Metroid has to go that much further, Yeah. Interesting. Next up, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Cool. Which you and I played at PAX. Yeah.
Yo, I'm down. Shovel Knight's cool.
I watched the direct like 30 minutes late and wasn't paying attention to what time I started it at. So I didn't know how far into the thing I was. But honestly, I thought we were like at the end of the thing when this happened. And I was like, all right, that was a pretty good.
Yeah,
and that's why I kind of feel like, no, this one was really good. The fact that we got there and then there were more hype announcements after that.
Yep.
I felt like that was great. So this one, so I did play it at PAX for anybody that's curious. I mean, we both did. My opinions of it, and then I'm curious to hear yours, was I think it will be really fun. I didn't do well at it. I felt like a lot to like, I don't know. It's just like, puzzle game. Like Tetris is simple, but it's also not like it's easy to like jump right into it on the higher levels right from the beginning, or to be good at it and not die by level like 7 on your first go, So that's kind of how I felt with this one, where it's like, I did okay enough, but not great. But I think there's just some depth there in a good way for a puzzle game.
I think it was fun. It was I like the the addition to Shovel Knight mechanics and stuff like that for a genre like that. Usually games like this is something that I would play while I'm just doing other stuff, trying to like be lightly distracted. So I might pick it up for that purpose, but I don't know if this specific formula is conducive to that. Like I feel like you need to pay that much more attention to this for it to not really take up the Tetris spot,
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It feels too much like, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It feels too much like a Shovel Knight game, if that makes sense.
Where like, yeah, it's not brain dead enough. Like it's a certain amount of brain dead's kind of nice, so you can kind of ease into it or whatever. No, I totally get that. I mean, that was like Grindstone with me for the bit that I was playing it. My Apple Arcade ran out, so I just deleted it. And also I just wasn't playing it quite as much anymore. But yeah, once you kind of learn what to look for and like kind of seeing patterns and stuff like that, it's nice to have these things be like brain dead games, like you said. But this one, yeah, I could see some people getting to the comfort level with this, that it would be that, but it felt too engaging to be that. And in a similar way to Tetris, there's a time element where the things are like always moving. So that feels like, puzzles and reaction time are an interesting mix, where sometimes like Tetris obviously has reaction time involved in it, but oftentimes for me, that's kind of to its detriment for puzzles, because I like being able to strategize instead of like being
my question. Another game we played, well, I mean, this is
Shovel Knight Dig.
Yes, what?
I'm guessing they just didn't want to like overshadow one or the other, so they're just spacing them out. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like that one was pretty close to.
I think that Shovel Knight Dig, this is a good move, because I did like Shovel Knight Dig more than I liked this.
Yeah.
So releasing this one first, I think was smart.
Yep. So they're not out.
So the first one that comes out is the one that is the best one,
right? Yeah, because then you'd be like, oh, but this one's not as good as that other spinoff was.
Yep.
You kind of,
because like again, this isn't bad, but
it
just would be poor pacing to like, here's the one that's not as good as the other thing we got.
Yep. And then after that, Islanders Console Edition, which we talked about earlier.
We talked about that.
I played it. AJ's got a code, and so he will have also played it.
I will check it out. Hopefully
for
before the next directly to you.
Indeed. So skipping that, Metal Slug Tactics. Apparently we'd seen this before at the Game of the Year Awards or something. I was listening to Nintendo Life talking about some stuff. And they mentioned that, or one of them mentioned that we'd seen this before, but it was only coming to like mobile devices at the time. And now it's not coming to just.
Is it like another Apple Arcade game?
I don't think so. I think they just only announced it just for mobile devices first, and then like, never mind. Or they always planned on doing it for everything, but just did a weird PR thing.
I don't think I've ever played a Metal Slug game of any kind.
Me neither. But I mean, this one looks good. Just like
it looks like nerd stuff.
Art. I mean, like, I meant more like art style and all that. Like, just
it looks HD 2D AF.
Yeah, but I mean, personally, also, I think, strategy RPG kind of stuff is fun. But there's also plenty of other, like, I haven't played Into the Breach yet, and I know that one is similar, aesthetic. I mean, different, but like in terms of more, cyberpunky, or not cyberpunk, like futuristic-y stuff, but it's super, super good. So I would need to play that one. Probably would pick that up before I pick this up, but I don't know, looks
2022.
Cool. And then two more, Tetris Effect Connected, obviously an indie game.
Yo, Tetris Effect is sick. I have that on Game Pass. It's cool, dude. Everybody should pick it up. I'm annoyed that it's just now coming, because I would have much rather played it on Switch.
Yeah, I mean, Game Pass though, so not too big.
Still play on Switch, but it's cool. You should get it. It's Tetris, but it looks more sick. And there's like, they do add stuff to it with the whole like levels, like how the levels are set up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try. I'll probably just try it on because I don't know. I'm
Luis
not like a
loves this
huge
game.
Tetris fan.
It's a Luis
He
game.
does. That's true. I don't care. I don't have like a place in my heart for Tetris the way a lot of other people do.
How dare you?
Easily. But like, I mean, I like Tetris fine. So
that's a crazy response to how dare you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll play it on Game Pass because I think that's a good,
Nice.
sort of free way to do
that.
What'd you say?
I said you could have been did that. It's been on Game Pass.
I didn't even. I must have known that it was. I don't know. I haven't played anything.
It's one of the. Well, actually, never mind. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. Never mind. I was going to say it's one of the games that like gets highlighted where it's like it's Series X, enhanced or whatever, but you don't have a Series X.
I don't. So that's true.
That makes sense.
And before the last game, there was also a sizzle reel that had some other games. Astroneer, 100 Days Winemaking Simulator, Slime Rancher that we'd seen before, Lumberjack, Curious Expedition 2, which we'd also seen before, and Gang Beasts.
Speaking of bears, where's Bear and Breakfast?
That's what I'm saying. I still follow them on Twitter, and looks like it'll be fun. I don't know that any of those. I've been kind of following Curious Expedition 2. Well, I haven't been following it. I follow Thunderful because they SteamWorld stuff, and they published this one. So I've been seeing stuff about it, and I really like the art style. But I haven't looked into it enough to know what is going on with the game. So that's something I'm curious about, but don't know. Curious about Curious Expedition 2. That's the game. That's the name of the game. Together, they did it as a team. It's the game. It's AJ. It's the name. Okay. I like the name Lumberjack.
Yo, it has bear in it.
It does.
Yeah. I saw that like Wood was like upset about the name being Portable Edition or something like that, of him being like, it's confusing, it makes me think the game's worse, and I'm like, I think that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, when the game comes out, or I think it is it, did Shadow drop? And I'm looking it up. I want to say it Shadow dropped. Available now. Yeah. So what do people think of it? No one's going to know what they think of it yet. There's not going to be any reviews yet, I don't think. Nope, no reviews for it yet. So there was one user review that said, they gave it a 9 and said, solid port, smooth frame rate, and all the content you'd expect. Kind of a marvel how well this plays. So you know what, Wood? Check out what Cassio Quinn has to say, and then you'll know the truth. I don't know. All right. And then there was one more game, and it's Eastward. And I was very excited to see that.
Nice.
Yeah. Eastward's been looking great from the first time we saw it. I put it in, I'll put it in a lot of my videos just when it's, just talking about games or whatever in general. Yes. And it's always one that I put it in, and I want people to be like, what comment and be like, what game? Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes people do that and be like, what's that game? I don't know if I know that. And this is always one that I'm like, I feel like people, this is the like looks wise, if I saw that, I would comment that. So, and that's what it is. It's Eastward. I don't know a ton about it, but it looks cool. It's Chucklefish. I don't know. Have we ever gotten anything from them? I don't remember.
I
don't know that they.
I think they might have sent me Stardew Valley.
Oh, well, there you go.
But we hit them up.
Yep, and that is everything announced in the indie world.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. What do you think overall?
It's pretty good. There's a couple games that I would definitely play. There's a lot of games that I know other people have been looking forward to. So. That like just by that gauge of any direct, let alone an indie direct, where like for me, my expectations for indie directs are like entirely different, not necessarily in like a more like lenient way, but like just the fact that I know indie games don't demo as well generally. Just a game's premise being interesting is enough for me to be like, okay, that's good. We had X amount of games that had an interesting premise. Whereas like that's not necessarily enough for any other game that would be shown off in a regular direct.
I mean, especially because I feel like indie games, the ones that do the best are the ones that not do the best, but oftentimes indie games are like, well, what about if we take this and we put it together?
Mm-hmm.
And that's inherently something that's like, I know I like those two things, but when you put it together, will it be good? Like we just can't know that, even if it looks great. It was like the first game, the Jet Set Radio game or whatever.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about the Pokemon Snap thing.
Oh, I mean, or even that too, you know, like, but especially the Jet Set game,
mm-hmm.
it could be great, but it also could look cool and not be great
and not be good. Yeah.
And so,
That's
and likewise,
with,
you know,
Murphy's Law. Yo, me and Morphe's Law. Me
Morphe's
and Bob
Law,
was so freaking hyped for that game, and then it came out and it was terrible. Apparently they fixed it, but I don't know if it's good now. I don't care. You already messed up your first impression.
No, it's just I played. Mitch got it, and then we played it together. Like
when it was new or when it was old.
When it was new, yeah.
No, wait, which time?
Like when it first came out.
Okay, got you. When it was bad still. Gotcha.
Yeah, when it was bad. So, yeah. So that's, I mean, but hopefully those will be a whole bunch of great games. Just like we're hopefully going to see at the Pokemon Presents on Wednesday.
Yep. Wednesday, which is annoying. I'm mad. Why would you do that?
We can trade days. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's still annoying.
Can I trade days? I don't know. We'll find out.
Can we?
I'll let you know. But yeah, I think, let's see. Pokemon just tweeted, attention trainers tune into, or literally they just said, okay, yeah, featuring Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus.
Legends Arceus, which is sick, dude. I'm down. We basically saw nothing from either one of these games. So I mean, it's Pokemon. It's the remakes we don't really need to know anything about. We know enough. It's like we know what
that's
the game
the
looks
thing
like.
is,
well, I don't know if we know enough. I take that back. I don't know if we know enough because like Gen 4, I feel like the big thing that they did, like every other remake up until now, kind of tried to emphasize things that the original games established, right? Where it's like in Gen 3, like weather was new or whatever, right? So they had the like mega evolution version of Kyogre and Groudon, and they have like stronger weather, you know, like so with Gen 4 being that they introduced stuff like Wi-Fi battles, are they going to do anything to like be like, yo, we made Wi-Fi battling even better, you know?
Was there what like in besides that, what internal mechanics were introduced in that game? I don't remember.
And Gen 4
that
stayed,
or I mean even just ones that didn't stay, but like
I mean they changed the contest. There was the underground, which was neat.
How so the contest, because I remember contests in Gen 3, I think. What were they like in Gen 4?
And Gen 4,
I thought they just went away for some reason.
No,
I mean, they've gone
Gen
away
4
since then,
you can like dress up your Pokemon with like sticker situations, and then they did a little dance. And then it was like the same thing as like the second round in the first in Gen 3.
Yeah. Gotcha. Interesting. Huh.
Which was weird because like in the anime, so they had like Pokeball seals, where it's like you can customize like the animation or like the animation around your Pokemon's like animation when they come out of their Pokeball. Like you could add fire or stars or hearts or whatever. In the anime, those seals were for contests, but you couldn't use them in the contest. It was very stupid. It didn't make any sense.
Man, what a weird time. I don't know. Yeah. The underground, though, you mentioned too. I do wonder. I mean, we kind of saw some of the underground, right, in the trailer already, but like, is it possible that they've made that more robust or something? I don't remember what it did. I don't remember a lot about
the
this
underground
game.
was like you can do like in Gen 3, you know how they, well, I don't know, you get Gen 3 and Gen 4 confused all the time. There's like secret bases and stuff in Gen 3. They have like a version of that in the underground where you can have a secret base and you can play with your friends and run around in the underground and stuff, and you can mine for items like freaking heart scales and stuff like that. And like
gotcha.
sapphires and stuff. um and it's like this mining mini game,
like platinum
like
and diamonds
you have
and
like
pearls. Yeah.
And like there's this mining mini game where it's like it's like Battleship basically.
Okay.
You like chip away at the wall and you have a certain amount of misses that you can get before the wall crumbles down and you lose all the stuff, or all the stuff that you didn't already like excavate.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Nice.
I don't know how much they could. I mean, they could do like they could change it in the sense that like it's just better now.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the like very specific changes they could make to the underground. I wouldn't even be surprised if they completely took it out. But I think it would make a lot of people mad.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be new.
We saw it in the
make Pokemon fans mad. It's fine.
I think we saw at least somebody walking around in it in the trailer, because I remember people saying something. It'd be cool if they did something with the underground, and then something looks like they didn't do anything with the underground just based on just seeing that it exists the same way, you know. But like also that was prior to that was when people were saying like it'll be like Sword and Shield and everything will be huge, you know, like 3D world.
Yeah.
But so that,
because I remember talking about that where the underworld is like the underground is the easy answer for them to do like a wild area equivalent,
yeah, right,
without having to like really change the game much.
That's right.
But
yeah, it's cool that we're seeing.
Look at Arceus for that. Apparently,
yeah, apparently. I mean, yeah, I agree with you that I don't feel like we've seen many new things from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I feel like there's gotta be like I would be surprised if it was just.
I think that
you know
it would be surprising if we didn't at least get like a fire red, leaf green level thing, because like although like that was contemporary then, it was still like relatively simple. And they still added stuff to it with the Sevi Islands and like the wireless connectivity and all that.
What if this is the game where they add a Nuzlocke run or something like that to like in the game?
I would be more surprised to see that.
Yeah.
Just because the studio behind it, like I would only not be shocked if it was like a Western studio that they handed it off to, because I feel like they would be more likely to like implement something like that. Because like Nuzlocks feel like a very like Western.
Yeah, right. I mean, and also the thing with Nuzlocke that's a bit frustrating probably is like they work best when self-imposed, because we know when things just weren't quite fair, where it's like that, like that thing doesn't quite count because legitimately this thing, whatever, so we can just override our own rules for whatever reason. Whereas if it's hard coded into the game, it feels like, I don't know, when you're playing chess on a computer and you move a piece and you're like, no, I literally, my finger slipped. Like I was not going to move the piece there. And then you lose because of that, like that kind of a thing.
Alec brought up a good point too in the chat that they don't want to say a Pokemon died.
That's very true. Yeah. So, but I wonder, maybe something
Team Rocket stole it from you or something. Our Team Galactic.
But it would be interesting if instead of adding extra stuff on the end, they like can recontextualize the stuff that's already there in some way. I very doubt that they're going to do that, but it would be fun, I think. But which is, I say that because that's what a Nuzlocke essentially does. But something permanently fainted. Yeah. So, but the other thing is Legends Arceus. I'm surprised to see how many people seem to be like, Pokemon Legends Arceus is gonna suck. It's gonna be the worst thing because the graphics, like, frame rates are bad or whatever. Like, I could not care less about.
I don't care even a little bit.
It's not that I don't care about those things entirely. Like, if the frame rate is horrible in the game, that's going to be frustrating. But I don't care the frame rate in the trailer from a year ago.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time the game comes out,
but also the frame rate is not going to be that bad.
Yeah,
like people act like I see the that new meme that's going around where it's like my fall plans, the Delta variant, like that sort of situation, and it's like Breath of the Wild is the fall plans, and then Delta variant is the
open
the forest,
or the wild area.
In Breath of the Wild,
the
where the only part of the game that like has frame dip, like consistent frame dips. Like people act like that ruins the game, where it's like every once in a while if the game drops a few frames, I don't care. Like as long as it's playable, I don't care. The only time that frame dips matter to me at all is if the frame dip made me die. You know, like if it's something like that, then it's like, okay, yeah, I can get that. But in a game like Pokemon, I don't care if the frames drop. The frames have been dropping in Pokemon games since they started being 3D. So, whatever.
I'm in very full agreement, especially having played some games where it's like, no, they definitely drop, and I didn't even notice.
You love the N64. That's frame drop the console.
I mean, I didn't realize until
it was called slow down back then.
It was. I remember playing Mario 64. Like my boss brought in his N64 to our break room in a couple of years ago, and I was playing in there, and I was like, oh man, there's a bunch of spots where it's just straight up like 15 frames a second.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just like, whatever, you know, it doesn't feel great in the moment, but as soon as it's done, it's like, that's it.
Yeah. Like as long as I don't die for it,
right,
I don't care.
Yeah. If it was the whole game, that would definitely be different. You know what I mean? Where like because at that point, then it's just not fun to jump around as Mario if jumping is, you know, but whatever. We've talked about frame drops.
Yeah.
Long enough. All that said, I think we're going to see some cool stuff for both of these games. Do you think there's any chance we see any other games as well as these? I wouldn't expect so.
Nope. We might see like some sort of like event Pokemon announcement for like a wild area thing or something like
or Pokemon Go something or
but I doubt we'll see like, and here's Gen 9, you know.
No, oh yeah. Inda said mini Unite update.
True.
I can see that.
True.
So yeah, it should be
Maybe
fun.
They announced Blastoise.
We can see if we can switch video days, and then you can
complain.
There were no frames in that trailer.
They didn't show me a single frame rate.
And then you know, speaking of frame rates, the Switch games are selling great.
Oh, shoot.
Those are related, but you have to figure out how. No, this is an interesting article that I noticed.
Switch games have bad frame rates.
Yeah, that's so funny.
All the games combined that sold have at least 40 frames.
Gotta be, right? When I was putting together the articles for all of this, I was like, it's just going to be Indie World. And then I was like, oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun too. So this one was interesting. It came out today. Last week in Japan, all 30 games on the top 30 games for physical sales were Switch games, which is the first time it's happened since 1988, which is a long time ago.
Yep. Which is to say, the last time it was done, it was also done by Nintendo.
Yeah, right, exactly. I wonder how often it had been back then, you know, like,
I mean, back then, it
probably
was all the time because it was just Famicom games.
Yeah. When did the Sega Mega Drive come out or whatever it was? No, that's 1988. Okay, well, here you go. What is that? Their first console, right?
I get the Sega ones confused.
Yeah,
because Sega Genesis is not called the Genesis everywhere.
Master System's the first one. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, it's since the Sega Genesis, it hasn't happened.
Master System's a petty name. It's like, oh, you got the entertainment system. We have the Master System.
Also, yeah, like also feels kind of like Ubermensch Master Race.
Yep.
Racist.
Yep.
Like, but yeah, so
that's it. Mega Drive is the Genesis.
Yeah, there's that's it. That's 30 whole games, all Switch games.
All 30 of them Switch games. We did it, team.
We did. Some of these games, I'm just looking at some of the sales and stuff for various ones. Minecraft is in number 1, which is like, man, that's selling so well. Also, none of these sales are very high. Not gonna lie.
Crazy. But that's Japan. Like Japan is just done. They're done playing video games on consoles. You know? It's like, they only play games on Switch, kind of. But for the most part, they're like, yo, we're all on our phones. We got PCs. We're not playing games on consoles. Are you dumb?
Yeah. Yeah, because the number 30 is at 2,000, which feels pretty low to still be on a list, but I don't know, whatever. But yeah, number one's Minecraft at 14,000. Maybe that's higher. I haven't looked at these charts.
Well, saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if number 30 in like the UK was 2,000, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And maybe even like
Probably less, not honestly
30, maybe not 30, but like top 50, I could see being around that number in the US.
Yeah. I mean, because there's only so many games that lots of people are buying at the same time too, you know, so that's a thing. So yeah, there you go. Also, I didn't put this in here, but Skyward Sword was number 1 on the NPDs for July, and that's without including digital, so that's pretty cool. And Monster Hunter Stories 2 was number 3, also without including digital, and that's especially cool because, you know, it sold better than the first one.
I didn't play the whole game, but game doesn't work.
It's yeah,
game
janky. You heard it here first. Well, you probably heard it on AJ's Twitter first.
Yeah, you probably heard it on my Twitter.
No, I enjoyed the little bit that I played of it, but I just don't know if I'm going to go back to it at any point.
I'm not even talking about Skyward Sword. I'm talking about Monster Hunter Story.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of games, Kirby, there might be something going on with Kirby. Did you see this?
Nice. I debated making the video about about that, but then I was like, I gotta make the Pokemon.
Yeah.
But now it's just going to be 2 Pokemon videos in a row. I mean,
that's true.
People say they like that, so good for you guys. But I still feel bad.
You know, whatever. I don't know what to say about those things. Pokemon videos, do it. Kirby 30th anniversary. So there was basically they just like put their 20th anniversary website back online, right? For a second there. And maybe that means the 30th anniversary celebration, because that's next year. So
yeah, hopefully we get a good Kirby game.
Yeah, it's odd to me. That this is the one that they do a little bit.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like Kirby's obviously part of their history, but like they didn't.
They're doing more for
Kirby's 30th than Zelda's 35th or whatever. You know, like
I think the Zelda 35th thing is just timing. Like I think that they wanted to do Breath of the Wild too, and like you know, like have a huge blowout thing, but they just couldn't, and they were burned by Mario. I think that they did something for Kirby's 20th.
It did, yeah. Well, because that's what the website was.
Yeah. So they did.
I think it was like
Kirby's 20th. Kirby is like a pretty active franchise for them, so I wouldn't be like that. Doesn't surprise me that they would do something for Kirby. I am a little surprised that they're not making a big deal about Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong's kind of in that territory, like the Kirby sort of territory. But I'm also sort of not surprised by it because Kirby's borderline Pokemon territory. Like not in terms of like success and acclaim and all that stuff, but in terms of like production, like how it's made, where HAL kind of just does what they want. So like, what else is HAL going to do? Not make a Kirby game, you know? Like,
yeah. I mean, and hopefully it also coincides specifically with a bigger Kirby game because, you know, they just have the game already ready to go.
Matter of fact, didn't we like figure out at some point that they're still independent technically?
Yeah they are.
So yeah, that makes sense to me. Like there's no surprises there.
Yeah, that's true. And then Nintendo would just back it or whatever. I mean, it's Nintendo's IP, but right? Yeah.
But it feels like
but HAL's like, hey, we're gonna do this thing.
Like
we're
Pokemon
Company. So I was like, yeah, man, sure.
With Pokemon, Nintendo cannot say, hey, do this, but they can say, nah, don't.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It's right to first refusal, and that's it.
Right. But exactly to your point, like Nintendo's not going to be like, oh, you want to do work and make money for yourself and for us? I don't think so. About things like the
right. Literally, the only time they're going to say no is if HAL's like, we're going to put Kirby on freaking Xbox. Like they'll say no to that.
Yeah.
But and maybe even mobile. But
yeah, honestly,
other than
it's
that,
true.
it's like
Honestly, weird, not weird, but I could see Kirby being a mobile game property in some regard. I don't know what, but something.
I just think that if they were to do that, it would be a Nintendo decision. Like, I don't think Hal has the Pokemon company pool. Because Pokemon company, they can be like, nah, man, we're putting it on mobile and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think with Hal, it would have to be like a Nintendo, like they'd have to shake hands on that.
Right, of course. I mean, I still wonder if we get any new mobile games at this point, because I mean, they've talked about the fact that they're kind of dipping out of that, but
we're getting Pikmin.
That's true. Oh yeah. And apparently there's more with that. I forgot about that. Yeah, interesting. When do we find out about? I mean, we haven't heard about Pokemon Sleep in a million years.
We're still. So I mean, they said that they're still going to talk about. I mean, I think Pikmin's supposed to come out this year. So
yeah, I mean, I guess there's also maybe just not as much of a lead up for Pikmin in terms of like, even with Pokemon Go, we knew about it for a long time, and then there was a trailer. I don't know, like a month or two before it actually came out.
And then it came out in like Australia and then the fake place, New Zealand, for like a week or something. And then it came out here.
Yeah. But you know what is going to be coming out? Maybe, we don't know for sure, is Grand Theft Auto on Switch.
No, that was never going to happen, dude. That was impossible. They would never put a Grand Theft Auto game on.
In reading this, I also remembered, there's probably a direct in literally less than a month. I mean, maybe not. Who's, whatever, who cares? Not who cares. I actually do care. But in terms of like, would I be mad?
I don't care when. No. I don't care like about the whole like the X direct. Like I don't care about that. But like I'm down.
Yeah, for sure.
Direct happens, sick.
Yeah. And I mean, it's chances are if history repeats itself, there's a good chance that it happens the first or second week of September. And there's a lot, like there's a dot hack game that was ESRB. There were a bunch of things like that the ESRB rated. And I think that was, how was this found out through that? No, it was just somebody leaked it or something. But whatever. Yeah. Maybe Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I'm not.
Yeah, this being a thing is the least surprising thing to me.
Yeah.
It's just like it was literally just a when, not if. And I think that if this does well, they're going to double dip on Grand Theft Auto 5 again. Mark my words.
Yep. It's true. I mean, I saw some leaker person saying, which I don't specifically, I don't know. I don't think I follow any leakers on Twitter, but I guess I see some people repost them or something.
You probably follow leakers on Twitter that are like leakers, but also
that's true. I mean, like I follow Pixel Par and like he's been one before.
Right.
And that's true. So there's definitely some of those. But someone was talking about how there's going to be more bigger game cards on Switch, like 32 gig games, which right now there's only like 3 of them or something. On the Switch next year moving forward. I wonder if those are getting cheaper, and if so, maybe the 64 gig cart is finally cheap enough to do something with.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to depend on how much Nintendo uses them.
Yeah, and also like probably the OLED too, like that. Yeah, the fact that it's got more storage, they're like, okay, finally we can let people do like more with this if they want to.
There's no game that cannot be installed on the Switch OLED currently. But there are games that you could not, in theory, install if you have a base level Switch, because there's like Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 or whatever that's like 32 gigabytes or whatever.
Yep.
You can't install that on a base level Switch because the OS takes up space and blah blah blah.
It's true. So yeah, that's probably coming. We'll see. I don't know.
We shall see.
We shall see indeed. And that's it from the news part. But now we move on to, the comments from the
video comments.
A little timestamp kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You sure did. It was a fun time.
It was about the Pokemans.
Yeah, cool. I had one specific thought from it, and I don't remember what it was.
Rip, dude.
It was, yeah, I don't remember. It was something when I think it was within the talking about cosmetics and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It was something within that world, but I can't remember.
Most of the comments are about the battle system, and I thought that was
funny. Yeah,
funny.
we still have yet to do. Actually, Justin was making some fun comments in the.
I pulled a comment from, well, in the what? And
he was talking in Discord about the battle system and stuff like that. You said you pulled one from him.
Oh yeah, I pulled his comment from on the video.
We still need to just like make that video to just have it there to be like, and this is what we're talking about to point people to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think that that's ever going to be like a thing that I would be able to do, like in terms of like be able to point to one video or even a series of videos to be like, this is what I'm talking about, because I could literally make a video about Pokemon every day for the rest of my life, but like y'all would get bored of that. I'm telling you, I guarantee it.
I mean, or make a series of like, you know, Pokemon battle system if it were like something, you know, and then like
there's not even, it's not even a thing that's like, this is how I want the battle system to be, period. And just like, I don't want it to be like this, you know, like I want it to actually be fun, not fun in this like abstract, like, you know, I get enjoyment, you know, in a roundabout way, sort of like, no, I want it to like be fun, you know? So that's all I want. Like, however we get to that destination is fine by me, but I'm not with the abstract fun.
I think, I mean, even as it is now, like, it can be fun for sure, but it's a ratio of fun encounters to not fun encounters. Like an encounter in and of itself is just not going to inherently be fun because like, for example, grinding, you get to a point where you just mash A and just destroy everything until you run out of PowerPoints. In and of itself, that there's nothing fun about that activity in a micro sense, you know, maybe in a macro sense, like, it's fun to become so powerful. But on the flip side,
like definitely that's like the type of stuff that I'm talking about when I say like fun in a roundabout way, where the act of doing the thing is not the fun thing, and that's what I have a problem with. It's like things about the overall experience people find fun, and that's fine, but I just want the actual like minute to minute to be fun.
As Alex said, cries in JRPG super fan, and I totally get that, because that for me, that the macro fun like that still is fun. Like I enjoy,
but I also think that like that's the sort of thing that can exist. Like both things can exist, but one cannot. Like the thing that cannot exist without the other is the inherent fun cannot exist. I mean, it cannot exist if the whole focus is making it feel like a JRPG. Like you can still do the JRPG min-max menus, like management and like all that stuff, and still have the actual like you pressing the buttons and what happens on the screen be fun.
I mean, the other thing is like, I don't know, it's so easy to say this, but like I'm down with just so much segmenting of Pokemon properties theoretically, and making like a Pokemon JRPG, and then having Pokemon be, you know, because it's the thing we talk about all the time of like the mainline Pokemon games are trying to be too many things at once that they just can't
I don't think
them.
I mean, I'm down with that in the sense that like if they segmented it and those things were like inherently smaller things that could work, but in the sense that they're trying to make either three equally big things that all serve different audiences, I think that is just going to hurt them more than help.
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, it could be that Legends Arceus already is doing this, you know, I don't know, because it depends on the battle system and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think that this is like more of a temporary thing. Like I think that Arceus is them trying to figure out how to incorporate everything in one game eventually. I don't think that they're going to like do Pokemon Legends Dratini or whatever. Like it's going to be something that they eventually take as a lesson to make the mainline games better. I mean, and I don't even necessarily, I think that like the best way to like for them to do that is if they keep the current battle system and it be like a legacy thing. Where it's like, you know how they have like the FIFA games on Switch and they're
Yeah,
like the
right.
legacy port or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is like the best case scenario, because
Yeah.
then they're not taking resources away, they're not trying like making the mainline game worse by like diverting their efforts elsewhere. It's the work's
Yeah.
already done.
I mean, and the thing is, like, it's not like Pokemon is excelling at the JRPG side of it anyway right now. So, like, you know, again, as enjoying that, I would be fine with them doubling down on that in a certain way, which again would preclude it, whatever, from being able to be multiplayer in the same way that it is. Like, just if they double down on that, like inherently the balancing is just off, and I'd be fine with it, but it would just become a single player thing. So for me, fine, but for everybody else, not fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you know what, if they're not doing JRPG great right now anyway, it is fine if Pokemon is also just something that's not JRPG, because that's in the real world, it's not JRPG things. And like, technically speaking, nothing in the real world is, you know, that's just, it's just not a real thing to like,
like
someone wait their turn while
it's like it was a means to an end, it became a convention, and now it's like a thing. Trev brought up something in the chat and said everyone calling Arceus the Breath of the Wild moment is setting themselves up for disappointment. Yes, I think that Legends Arceus is Skyward Sword. I think we'll look back at it as like a game that's like, oh, and this is something that they set up for the future, and this is something they set up for the future. But the game is not going to be what everybody thinks in terms of like, it's this it's just a Pokemon game, it's just Pokemon, you know. And to your point about the single player thing, like even the games that people look at as like, see, they did single player RPGs before, like XD Gale Darkness and Coliseum, they were still multiplayer games. Like even those were multiplayer.
Were they co-op multiplayer games? I guess?
They were like, they had battle. Battle with your Pokemon and stuff like that. But
I mean, because Pokemon are just balanced.
It's just inherently a multiplayer game. Like, it was designed to be played with other people.
So I don't know. Those are some things. Battle system, I think it would be interesting, to do even, or one video that very briefly glosses over, like, here's one avenue they could go and another avenue, or really dive into each one in like a series or something like that.
Like, just literally whenever there's like another idea that's like, this could be a battle system, how about this one?
Just jot
or how about this? Or how about this? You know, just throwing a whole bunch of ideas that could theoretically work at the wall.
Yeah, it's true. Here's some comments from your video. Seven said, I'd love to dress up my Pokemon. The musicals and contests were my favorite parts of Gen 5 and the Gen 3 remix because of the fun accessories you could give your Pokemon. Dressing up Momoko, my Eevee, in Let's Go also made her feel more special to me. I've seen some other commenters worrying about the meta possibly having to be adjusted, since sometimes the element of surprise plays into held items. Besides the fact that if the battle system changed, so would the meta regardless. Maybe if you don't want your opponent to see your Pokemon has a specific item, you could toggle its visibilities, or they could make it so that the only visible things on Pokemon are cosmetic items, but with ability slots into which you could put the held items effects. So to the Pokemon, it'll just look like your Pokemon are wearing any clothes they can give their Pokemon to, but then you surprise them with the abilities you have slotted into each piece. Basically, you'll have armor with customizable stats like most other RPGs. Yes, even turn-based RPGs. The meta will then have an additional layer of depth, because you'll have to think about how to best min-max your Pokemon's armor as well as their IVs and EVs. It doesn't have to necessarily be armor, of course. It can look like anything, cute modern clothes, whatever, but mechanically that's what it'll be. And if that's too hard for casual players / very young kids to understand, then they can just ignore it and breeze through the single player as always, since it'll mostly make a difference to the competitive scene anyway. The single player will still be super easy as long as you understand the rock paper scissors lizard Spock type of advantages or overlevel your starter, but now you'll have a fun cosplay minigame too. Edit, forgot to add that it should be obvious. Forgot to add, though, it should be obvious that all of this should be accessible in the main or in the game itself and found through progression. No microtransaction pay to win shenanigans in a full priced retail game.
I'll say that I saw those comments too, where it's like, but part of it is like hiding the thing or whatever. There's so many easy ways to hide the thing.
Yeah.
And also it's not always
or make it
supposed
visible
to be.
only to you and not
Yeah,
to the
like
other person.
it could be a like gotcha moment of like it's just a generic scarf of some sort, and then once you reveal that you're scarfed, that's when it's like, oh shoot, he's scarfed. You know,
Yeah.
because that is not supposed to be the purpose of it. Of like the like, oh my opponent forgot that I kept doing the same attack over and over again, and therefore I'm obviously scarfed or whatever. I think that is just like a byproduct that people take advantage of more so that it was like intended, right? It does. And this, to me, these comments read a lot like the shiny hunting thing, where people are like, you can't do overall Pokemon, that would ruin the surprise of shiny hunting would be ruined. And people like shiny hunting way more and Let's Go than they do in the older games, because you see the shiny in the overworld.
Yeah, right. I agree. That is all. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to fix any of those kinds of things. And also, like, inherently, there's going to be, with this kind of thing, like, it's, I don't know, it's just really complicated because there's a lot of facets to it, because there's just a lot of facets to this kind of thing and realizing it. But like, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not worth trying either. You know, they've tried
like,
a lot
obviously
of
a lot of things will need to be changed, and that's not a bad thing, because a lot of things should be changed anyway.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these comments pretend that the battle system is good, and it's kind of not. Like they're like the most obvious, or the thing that should make it the most obvious to people that the battle system is flawed, is that there's like 12 viable Pokemon out of the 1,000 that we have. Like,
yeah, which I mean, like, you know, canonically or whatever, like, seems pretty accurate, but at the same time, there are definitely,
and canonically that's not even true.
Well, like, that's what I was going to say, is, or not canonically, but like in a world of like, there's creatures that are stronger than other creatures, like Mewtwo is the most powerful, whatever,
right?
Like,
and,
there's
but that's the thing, there's a pecking order in that sense, and those Pokemon, that's like the Mewtwo's and the Arceus and blah blah blah. Like, in the world of in the universe, like, there's inherent nerfs in the sense that there's only one of each of those,
right?
Or for most of them, for like, apparently there's more than one Lugia. But for most of those Pokemon, it's like, these are like mythical beings that people will never be able to catch and use for their own purposes or whatever, right? But beyond that, it's like, you could ban those Pokemon just like they're banned in the real video game. And on the other end of the spectrum, Ash's Pikachu is not hard locked out of winning.
Right.
Ever.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, there's still always a way Pokemon that are like, I mean, that, or like the whole AJ Sandshrew kind of classic example. Like, for as much as they're like, wow, that's a Rhydon, so strong or whatever. Still, like, it doesn't mean that it just like beats other things by being a Rhydon. You know what I mean? Like, and some of that I'm sure is like levels in the world or whatever. There's some element of that, but still, it's I don't know. It's also smarts and ability and stuff like that.
I think that a lot of that can be worked into the game. Like, I should be able to outplay or outsmart my opponent in a world like that, because people are being outplayed and outsmarted in the Pokemon anime, the Pokemon manga, you know, like all these other mediums. It's not just like, my number's higher than yours, lol.
Yeah, for sure. Next comment from Herringarian said, as a kid, I was always confused that Pikachu could beat nearly anything in the anime, and how different the combat in games and anime were. Did play Blue before I watched anime, I think.
Yeah,
exactly that.
And I wasn't necessarily confused. I was just disappointed. I was like, man, this is so much cooler. Like, it is so much cooler for like, you be able like to have the Naruto moment of like, you shout a possession jutsu and now you're stuck. You can't move, and you didn't even realize it because I've been playing chess while you're playing checkers. You know, like, you can't have those moments, because it's like, all right, I picked tackle, it's your turn. You picked tail whip, all right, my turn. I picked Ember. Okay, your turn. You know, like, that's so boring.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean, and even again, like as far as the JRPG stuff goes, even within the realm of JRPGs or whatever, like it feels very, I don't know. Um, again, to be multiplayer, it's a little bit stunted in that regard. Like it's not, it's robust in its multiplayer faceted. It's, I don't know. The fact that you only have like 4 moves per Pokemon is important for the meta as it currently stands, but it just doesn't feel accurate to the world, and like means that there's just not as many like interesting things that can happen. But at the same time,
I mean,
I don't know.
I'd
A
push
lot would
back
have to be
against
changed.
that somewhat, because it does seem like the canon of the world is that they do only retain 4 moves. But I
Interesting.
don't know if that's like an actual thing or is just like a byproduct of like them being like, this move's not cool anymore. We're going to just use these moves, you know?
Yeah.
Because it does seem like they only use a certain amount of moves at a time. Like it seems like in the anime, Ash's Pikachu forgot Volt Tackle in favor of like Electro Ball. You know, like
I'm looking up for whatever it's worth. 4 moves.
I
This
think
is
that
on
like if you look up,
Bulbapedia.
if you look up like Ash's Pikachu or Ash's any Pokemon, they usually have like a symbol next to the moves that he currently or that they currently use.
So this says this is difference between the games and anime, and it's a pretty long list. It says Pokemon can have more than 4 moves in the anime and are not required to forget an old move in order to learn a new one. Although some of the moves a Pokemon is shown using when first introduced will generally fall into disuse as the Pokemon learns more powerful moves as the series continues. Later series are more likely to have Pokemon stick to the 4 move limit, however. So yeah, that makes sense that they're kind of grabbing it from I mean, honestly, probably to help make that feel a little bit better, you know, so it's not like, but in the show, the way that it feels right now. Yep. Next comment is from Amp, said, I wish there was a huge variety of Pokeball styles and the ability to change a Pokemon from one ball to another. If meta wants to be bratty about it, just make ball swaps only for cosmetic balls, then show my team balls on my character.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know why that would be a problem in the
meta-wise
scene. Like, why does it matter with Pokeball?
Yeah, it doesn't affect any stats or anything like that, right?
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'd be down with that. I hate that I can't choose my Pokeball after the fact. Too. But again, like that's another thing that's like in the lore of the world. Like I'm not as mad, like because most of my complaints is that like the lore in the world elsewhere is just more cool. Like so I don't like the fact that that's consistent with the lore. Like Ash's Snorlax Pokeball broke one time and he just couldn't move his Snorlax because the Snorlax was already like his like DNA was already coded into that specific Pokeball. So like he was an owned Pokemon, so he couldn't be put in another Pokeball unless he was released from that Pokeball. So they had to fix his Pokeball for him to be able to go in a Pokeball.
Interesting.
So I'm not as mad at that because it's canon.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at least, or being able to change not so much which Pokeball they're in, but cosmetically changing the outsides of the Pokeballs.
Yeah, stuff you know, like the Pokeball seals and stuff.
Yeah, like I mean, just the same way that those 3DSs that had things that you could slide out. You know what I'm talking about?
The
backings
the
or
new
whatever.
3DS.
Yep. Also, I think Mega Man and Inda had to leave. So long, senors. Thank you for joining the stream. And we still have some other people in there. So thanks for hanging out. Next up, Card Blader Gamer says, love to hear someone mention changing the turn-based system of Pokemon into something else. I wouldn't say get rid of the turn-based RPG games since they're doing so well and a lot of people still like it, but rather have an action RPG game that resembles the Pokemon show's combat while still keeping a lot of the conventions of the mainline game, only having 4 Pokemon moves, type advantage, the leveling system, the basic stats in the games like how powerful a move is, etc., that go alongside the mainline games.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I think like the opposite of that, because like at the end of the day, the more popular thing is going to be the action-based game. Like just look at the industry as a whole. successful turn-based games are the exception.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Pokemon games are not successful because they're turn-based. They're
Mm-hmm.
successful because they're Pokemon.
Yeah.
So if you give people the Pokemon option that is just more marketable, it's going to become even more successful. I think that, like, in the interest of the couple million people that legitimately do love Pokemon for the turn-based RPG system, and that's it, you give them a legacy game. You give them a Pokemon Showdown, or you give them a battle simulator and Pokemon Home, or like some sort of equivalent to that. Not revolve the whole system around them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and similarly, like, no matter whatever the mainline game is going to be the one that sells the most, you know, whatever the battle system is. And I definitely agree that traditionally just action games do better than turn-based games. Like, that's obvious. So I think if
Sardi brought up, he said Persona isn't huge because it's turn-based. Yeah.
Right.
But
yeah,
also,
exactly.
I'd go even further than that and say Persona Pokemon isn't huge. Like Persona seems as big as it does because it's like a decently sized game in a genre that's generally not that big. Like, I'm pretty sure that Persona 5 is still under 10 million units.
Yeah, it's like
with a user base of well over 100 million. So like it's good, like it's decent, but it's not Pokemon that's selling 20 million on a user base that's 20 million less than that. You know, like Pokemon is like the exception, you know.
Sold. Yeah, this here says, and I don't know how recently this is, but including Royal, it has sold over 4.6 million copies.
Yeah, which is good. That's
for sure,
super successful game, but it's not in the realm of like what I'm talking about. Like, and it's like even more so what I'm getting at, where it's like that. Reading these people's desires charitably, you'll probably make 4 million out of the 20 million people that bought Pokemon Sword and Shield upset if it's no longer turn-based. So what? So like 8 million more people will buy it because it's no longer turn-based. Like,
no, I think that's totally true. I think it's what I was going to say too, is like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot if they make a spin-off be the thing that they want to put in the mainline game, which maybe they don't want to put non-turn-based in the mainline game. Like, you know, maybe they would, but they don't want to, you know, I don't know. But if
I think it's probably split.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think there are definitely a lot of people at like Game Freak that want to do that. But then there's also traditionalists, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it seems to me like, I mean, it's a risky move, but change the mainline game, see how it does. And then probably the next one's going to be more of the same, because that's how development cycles work. They wouldn't be able to, you know, base the next one off of how the first one does. But then that means 2 games later, you can come back to it. Honestly, kind of like 3D Mario or something like that, where like it was sandboxy, it was linear, it was very linear, it was sandboxy again, you know, where then coming back to the old formula, if they really need to, feels like a huge win for everybody. Or they stick with it because everybody likes the new thing better. So yeah. I mean, I generally agree. And I would love, like I said, I'd love for them to be able to innovate. I think if they want to innovate further into a JRPG direction, it would get more niche. And so, you know, like it's at that point, even better, you know, side project. Fodder.
Like there's obviously a fan base for JRPGs. That much I'm not saying. What I'm saying is that Pokemon's just too big for a niche. It's outgrown the niche.
Yeah, my real guess is they're gonna very, very, very slowly work towards something, or never. That's fine, you know. I'm honestly most curious about Legends Arceus and what it ends up being, because right now, as it seems, like it kind of seems like it's not as different from I mean, like, I guess like Skyward Sword, like you were saying, it's not as different from regular Pokemon as one might expect for a side project spinoff. I mean, this probably is their Gale of Darkness or Call XD, whatever, Coliseum, that kind of thing of this generation. Like that's probably how they're thinking of it, but it's just obviously in a very different kind of landscape and all that.
I mean, I don't even necessarily think. I think that they're looking at Arceus as a big deal because Arceus is the one that Game Freak is looking at. I mean, that's the one they're working on.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I definitely think they think of it as a big deal.
Yeah, like they put a producer on the remakes on the like Brilliant Diamond, and then
I guess I'm more mean like team one that, you know, with Coliseum and Gale of Darkness or whatever, I mean, I see what you're saying as far as those were spin-offs, and this one technically also is a spin-off, but like they were like, these are the big console games.
They're made by like a B team too. It's what I'm getting at, because like Genius Sonority or whatever made those games.
So, but I think in terms of like the I don't know, kind of prestige or like where it fits into Pokemon as a whole, like probably it's within closer to that kind of realm, which is like obviously really exciting for, you know, a lot of people. But I do tend to think like it looks like the battle system is probably going to be relatively similar. The exploration is going to be the one big thing, and so how well that does or doesn't work in this will be fun to see. But I don't know. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be not as far of a departure from standard Pokemon as we're thinking. But that's what I'm curious to see on Wednesday is like how far will it risk setting itself apart.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see, because they call it an action RPG. That's what it's called. That's the genre. So why?
Right. I'm just wondering if the action part is like because you're rolling around.
It's like there's balls. A roll button, so it's an action RPG now. Like,
Alex said, the battles look cooler, but functionally the same in that first trailer. That's so. But we'll see. Yeah, maybe there's extra things that they didn't want to show us yet, and they'll show us now. Speaking of which, last comment, Justin said, I think the biggest problem with changing the battle system is the way the moveset works at the moment don't work. From a basic level, most of these games you talk about have some sort of block command. Personally, a lot of the defensive skills / moves would have to maybe be rethought to work that way. That's not really the problem, though. The real problem is Game Freak putting that much work into rethinking it. Now that Masuda is moving to the other franchises, we will have someone step in and push them, but we'll have to wait and see.
I don't think that that's a problem at all. Like, it's not hard to like look at the universe of Pokemon and say, how can we put a block button in this? what can the Pokemon possibly do to block other Pokemon's attacks? Because like that's the same question that they asked themselves when they made Pokken. You know, like Pokken wasn't like them. It's not a Smash Brothers situation where they put blocking into a game that didn't exist before. Pokemon Unite is another example. There's no block button in Pokemon Unite. So no, I don't think you need a block command. I think you just need a way to like avoid attacks. That's already within the world, you know, like that's just movement. So
it's man. I mean, the Pokemon world is so interesting because I think the sky's the limit as far as what it could be, which makes it that much harder to kind of accept what it probably always will be. And specifically thinking that like for as interesting as the chemistry system, for example, is in Breath of the Wild, that's like 4 elements essentially, you know, like fire, ice, electricity, winds.
But like, those 4 elements with how they interact with the world is the thing that makes it interesting.
But that's exactly, I mean, that's the thing that's interesting, but there's purposefully fewer like ingredients to make the things happen so that they can, because otherwise it, you know, blows out of proportion really easily. Pokemon, on the other hand, perfect for a chemistry system, but there is 18 of them.
But
to have to interact with things, you know, like
but I don't think they all have to have as well-defined, super distinct. Like Dragon doesn't have to like have this very specific interaction with a bug type element, you know, that sort of thing. It's like if it makes sense and there's a clear answer to them interacting in this super special way, that's how they'll interact. And I'll also say that like I think that if Pokemon as a game franchise is going to be around for, you know, Zelda amounts of time, it's inevitable that it's going to change. It's inevitable. Like,
right.
just like
Yeah.
unwittingly to us, it was inevitable that Zelda would eventually change. I'm sure 10 years ago, people were saying that, like, being in the same position with Pokemon, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like, it's probably always going to be the same
Mm-hmm.
because it always was the same until it wasn't.
Yep.
But like, you don't have a long running franchise for Zelda time, amount of time, Mario amounts of time without
Mm-hmm.
it changing at all, you know?
Yeah.
And
And that's honestly, that's why some franchises die out, is they
Yeah.
don't. And then that's kind of the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
And at this point, a lot of franchises are able to come back for the first time ever, which is interesting, but for the most, but especially for Pokemon, which as popular as it is, that's the hard thing, is like steering such a large moving ship takes a lot more effort.
It's hard
and
to
like,
know when and how to implement new things.
And getting everybody on board at the same time.
Right. They know they need to implement new things. It's just, okay, how?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that's your video. Any last thoughts?
I'm curious to see what Dragon Quest does too.
Yeah.
Because Dragon Quest 12, they have said that they're nuking their battle system and making their battle system an action-based thing. Yep. And that was like the prototype Pokemon game. So I wonder if that is like something that they're like waiting on to see. Like, how did they do it?
Alex said Dragon Quest has resisted change for so long.
Exactly. And that's why I'm even more so in the camp of like, Game Freak's gonna do it. Like, because like, if the one that was like known for like, we're the last bastions of the old style, or like, maybe we gotta
I feel like Square Enix probably feels a little bit like they have some new turn-based RPG IPs that they're working on now, like Octopath and stuff like that, to where maybe they can leverage that. Like, I don't know how many sales each had, but like Octopath definitely probably sold at least
a couple million.
Of
like, it's a blockbuster in the RPG genre. Yes, I can tell you that.
So, but compared to Dragon Quest 11S, for example, which definitely sold more, like actually, I'm just gonna look it up. How many copies did Dragon Quest 11 sell? I could have asked it. Okay, 6.5 million. That's nice. A lot. But then what about Octopath? Was, I think, at least over 2 million, I'm pretty sure, across Switch and PC.
Yeah.
You know, so if they have Octopath, Bravely Default, and something else, then they can kind of like experiment with Dragon Quest. And it doesn't quite work out that way, but you know, whatever.
I feel like it's like in reverse, where it's like the turn-based stuff is going to be like their incubation. Where it's like, this is a new franchise that we can like make people love, and then once it gets too big for that, then they shift it into something else. Yeah.
And again, they can always come back if 12 doesn't do well.
If it doesn't work, they can always be and like make that a big deal of like, you guys didn't like the last thing, but here it is, back to how it used to be. But something tells me that's not what happened for the bigger franchises anyway.
So yeah, that's your video. I thought it was very interesting and fun things, and Pokemon's always fun to talk about. It's so complicated in a wonderful way.
It's too big of a franchise, dude. It's way too big.
So there's that. All right, I made a video.
You did, and your video came out like 2 hours ago. I did not have a chance to watch it
yet. Nice. So here's in that case, okay, you know what? Here, we'll do this. This will be a fun time. I'm going to share my screen, and I have up the tier list as I made it.
Oh, but what about
the people who haven't seen it yet?
Who are currently listening?
Hey, you mean for them to be able to see this?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll just describe things.
Okay.
Hopefully the 4 of you that are listening also watched the video. If you didn't, that's very fine. But we'll describe some of these things as we go. So I'm curious, like, without hearing my ideas of why from the video, because I think everything I said makes a decent amount of sense. but yeah, without the rationale, I'm curious what you think of some of these things. So, and I'll read them out too so people know. So the categories, and okay, the big topic is how do basically the Switch games for each of these franchises represent their franchise as a whole. So like I at the top of the list, I've got Zelda, for example, because I feel like Zelda games on the Switch, if you wanted to play a Zelda game in general and you had a Switch, like there's a Zelda game for you no matter what, for sure. Like you're good. And then on the bottom end of the list is Kirby, for example.
Yeah.
That it just like Kirby is a lot better than the Switch iterations of the games give it credit for, that kind of a thing. And then it's everything in between. So the categories are, number one is maybe too good. Second one's that there's a franchise. Afterwards, you get the picture. Then I guess it couldn't hurt, and only some fans.
I mean, if I made this list, I would move.
So here, I'll read them because also for audio listeners at home, we can go kind of. Do you want to go bottom to top or top to bottom?
We can go bottom to top.
Bottom to top. All right. Only fans, only some fans. Yoshi and Kirby.
I'd probably move Yoshi up one.
I figured you might.
Yeah, because I think Yoshi's a significantly better game than Kirby Star Allies. Like significantly.
Yeah.
Like I would give Yoshi at least a B+, and I would give Kirby Star Allies like a D-.
So interesting. So my opinion of Yoshi, I think got worse the more I played it. Like I thought a lot of the levels were interesting, but by the end of the game, because like I played it and I beat it, and it had some cool things like I mentioned in the video, like the magnets thing. That was fun. You know, like there's different little mechanics like that are neat. But as just like a whole package, I don't know, it kind of left me feeling stale or something to where like I could see moving up one for sure.
Yeah,
but
like, I don't think it's the best game ever or anything even close to, or even the best Yoshi game. But I think it's a good Yoshi game.
Yeah.
I think that like playing that game would not have me being like, why do people like Yoshi games? But if Kirby Star Allies was the first Kirby game I ever played, I'd be like, why do people like Kirby games?
I've borderline got the why do people like Yoshi games from this game? Not quite, but like closer to it for sure. So yeah, I don't know. That's that. But yeah, I could definitely see that. Next category up is Miitopia 1-2 Switch, Paper Mario, representing, for context, Mario RPGs as a whole, as the franchise, not just Paper Mario, and Sushi Striker.
Wait, I'm confused why 3 of the 4 are on here. Like, why is Miitopia 1-2 Switch or Sushi Striker on here? Because none of those are from franchises, except for kind of Miitopia, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. I mean, a bunch of these games they just aren't franchises yet, and I mentioned that in the video for sure. Where Miitopia, like it represents Mii's, so like it's not hurting Mii's as a whole, but it's also not helping them. So it's just like, you know, whatever. If somebody were to play one of these games, if I think the fact that they don't have a franchise is what's keeping them from being at the bottom. You know what I mean? Because they're not hurting the franchise in and of itself, as opposed to Kirby and borderline Yoshi's Crafted World, depending on some things. Again, I'm being overly harsh on Yoshi's Crafted World, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think Yoshi's decent. I think that, I just think that, like, if you don't like Yoshi's Crafted World, I can't see you liking non-Yoshi Island Yoshi games, because Yoshi's Island is like probably the best Yoshi game by far, and I can see you liking that. But the rest of them are around Crafted World's quality. Like they're around there.
Yep. And again, it's probably some of it is I don't know, a little bit the way I played it too, or something where like at some point I think it was just in my backlog and I was like, I just want to have it finished. And so it was out of like like frustration almost to finish it. So I'm sure there's an element of that in there, as opposed to just like playing little bits and pieces of it.
Alex said, is 1-2-Switch's franchise Nintendo tech demo games? And if
Oh,
that's the case, then put it in the bottom tier because they are way better.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo Land is a sick game.
Yeah.
Like,
and so honestly, to go back to a point that we've talked about on here before of whether or not 1-2-Switch should have been a pack-in game, I think it didn't hurt the sales, obviously, of 1-2-Switch. For like, it sold great for Nintendo. It was a great idea for it to not be a pack-in game. However, I think it would have benefited in the same way that people are like, man, Astrobots, whatever it is on PS5, like that's so cool. That's a great game.
I don't agree with
not
that.
In the same way because like, people
like the thing about Nintendo Land is its experiences are games that people would want to play.
Totally
removed
agree.
from Nintendo Land.
Right.
But 1-2-Switch is like, hey, here's this like different take on video games that you may or may not want to play, and packing that in, I don't feel like does anybody any favors. Like it might at best case scenario do the like Super Nintendo like Famicom or Nintendo Entertainment System collection level of like, I'll check this out one day and then never touch it again. But why do that when 4 million people are like, yo, all right, I'll play this week.
You're right.
You know,
like, I think, it's the question of like, are you trying to help? What's the purpose of the game? And if it's to sell copies, then they did the best.
I think like the best pack-in games are games that Nintendo thinks people will get the gist of the platform, but also play long term. Like people that bought Wii U's and liked Nintendo Land are still playing Nintendo Land to this day, and Wii Sports and stuff like that, because it's just a fun thing to do when you have people around, you know. 1-2-Switch is cool to show people once. Yeah. And it's like, that's pretty neat. And then you'll never touch it again. And that's not a bad thing, but I think that it's a bad packing game because it doesn't make people want to buy the platform.
Well, and also I think the fact that it's that it doesn't have, to my understanding, any single player at all. Is that right? It's just multiplayer.
Yeah.
I think so, because I would compare it pretty closely, not to Nintendo Land, but to Wii Play, where I do think pretty strongly that our opinion of Wii Play is way higher because it was a pack-in game. If you had to pay anywhere close to full retail price for Wii Play, then like people do have fun with that game, but it's partly the fun of like, and I didn't even have to pay for this, you know, like there's an element of that for sure.
I think that Wii Play is very similar in the sense that nobody talks about Wii Play.
Yeah, no, I know. But like people, if they think of Wii Play, people are like, man, like that was a good pack-in game. And that's it. You know what I mean? Where like, if the purpose is making money, that's not really helping anything. But it gives you like just a good feeling right at the beginning, which most people's good feeling is the, you know, Breath of the Wild or whatever other game they got instead. Like you don't need a pack-in game because people are buying a Switch to play a specific game. Like that's just part of it. But like, you know, I remember Face Raiders on the 3DS. I was like, that's a fun little thing, but there's no way I would have ever paid money for that. But if I think of Face Raiders as a franchise, I'm like, I don't know, cool, I guess, neat. Much more than if.
Yeah, I mean, even that is different because Face Raiders was like part of a suite. Like it was Face Raiders and the what's it called? The freaking Street Pass Plaza games and stuff like that. Like 1-2-Switch is too big to be that.
Yeah.
Like it's too big to be that, but not big enough or like in terms of scope to be a Nintendo Land, a Wii Sports.
I mean, I will stay in the camp that I think for different reasons of what they were going to get out of it, that it would have been better for a consumer for it to be a pack-in game.
Yeah, obviously it'd be
so
better for
and that's the side I'm arguing from
video game,
right? But thinking of me as first having gotten a Switch, I would have been very happy to have a free 1-2-Switch, but also I didn't buy it. I don't care one way or another at this point. And Nintendo made more money it not being a pack-in game. So depending on which side you're coming at it from, I think easily changes the, you know, the opinion.
Yep.
But yeah, and then Paper Mario, just as Mario RPGs in general, I don't feel like Mario RPGs are represented particularly. I liked Paper Mario. I thought it was a good game, but within the scope of Mario RPGs, I just don't know that it's not hurting them, but it's also not like being like, wow, Mario RPGs
it's
are
not
great.
like the best example of the RPGs.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. And then in this next category, I'll read them out for the audio listeners. We got you get the picture. Fire Emblem, Clubhouse Games, ARMS, Box Boy, Advance Wars, WarioWare, or Wario as a franchise, Ring Fit, Labo plus Game Builder Garage. I'm bundling them together. Donkey Kong, Captain Toad, Mario Golf, and Mario Aces, which I forgot to include in my video.
There's a couple of these that I'm like, I don't know why they're here.
Yeah.
like ARMS isn't really a franchise.
So that's again like pretty much I just put it in like Nintendo first party games that are on Switch. I'm thinking like forward thinking for ARMS too, because like if we look like Astral Chain's in the next level up, that's not a franchise yet, it's just one game. But if things. So it's not a franchise yet, but I think how representative.
Also, I don't know how I don't agree with either. I don't agree with it being here, and I definitely don't agree with it being that high. Like it being higher than Fire Emblem is crazy.
What do you mean higher than Fire Emblem? Wait,
Astral Chain? Yes. It being on the list, period, and also higher than Fire Emblem is crazy.
Again, so this isn't a question of the quality of the game by itself. It's a question of how well does it represent just the breadth of what it is. And so Fire Emblem.
Wait, but why is I don't get it.
Like so Astral Chain is like on the money for what for what Astral Chain is. You know what I'm trying to say?
But how's ARMS not on the money for what ARMS is?
Because I think Astral Chain is not going to ever be much more than Astral Chain.
Okay.
Again, this is my tier list.
Right.
ARMS, I think, is going to be more
I'm just trying to
ARMS
understand the rationale.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Which again, like I think in the video, I probably did a better job of explaining this, but maybe not. Who's to say? And Fire Emblem, I think, is more things. I actually had it
3 houses. Gotcha.
More than 3 houses, but we also, I mentioned too, we have Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE and Fire Emblem Warriors. And for a second, I had it at the one higher because of Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, but because that was taken back down, I pulled it back down. So as soon as there's another Fire Emblem game, I feel like it gets bumped back up and it like is more representative of the whole thing. But there's plenty of Fire Emblem fans that'll be like, oh, it's not they don't have the classic something, which, whether you agree with that or not, that's a thing that shows that there's something that's missing from what Fire Emblem is, which feels valid enough. Yeah, that's the logic, at least. Gotcha. Again, the nice thing with this is I get to make up my own rules.
I just need to understand the rules.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that there are any at the same time. It's kind of just my logic, but I don't know. So that's these things. Just what, people, you can just go watch the video because I feel like that'll be more interesting than like me just double justifying myself here. Because no, Sardi said, yeah, as my first Fire Emblem, 3 houses is great. Fully agreed. I thought, yeah, that was my game of the year and remains game of the year for 2019 for me. Although it's tricky because I played Divinity Original Sin across 2 years and it didn't get a shout out for either one of them. So I don't know which it actually gets to win in, but I'll say 2020 because there's a fly in here. Whatever. That's the end of this part. We're moving on to the last section.
Okay.
So yeah, the last bit is Q&A. If you're watching, if you're listening along, feel free to like drop something if you want. And drop something, just, put a comment in is what I mean to say. And we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, we've got some from YouTube community. I asked about the indie world, whether you thought it was, how good it stacked up, within indie world. And 13% said that was the best one ever. 44% towards the top, but not the best. 18% said pretty mid compared to other. And 4% said not a good indie world. And then lastly, 21% said, I don't care at all about indie world presentations. I'm curious about that 4%, like, and because
Yeah.
I also said not a good indie world, relatively speaking, like specifically put
Yeah,
that
like
there.
what indie world do they think is a good indie world?
Yeah. And not even just what one indie world, but like that means that the majority are better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I was mostly just curious because I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous. Not necessarily intentionally, but like, I mean, also, if none of those games were for you specifically, but most indie worlds like have a lot of platformers, and this one didn't have platformers, so like, I get that. I get that. I don't know, but interesting. Thanks for answering. All right.
For the answers.
Yeah, and then Cool said they had some really good reveals. Looking forward to a bunch of them. Continuing on, said, guys, I finally get the Pokemon hype. I had a trip last month and I didn't have anything worthwhile on my Switch. So I bought a DSi with tons of games and started playing Pokemon Platinum first. Nice. It's really good, but the only thing I'd say this one does better than Sword and Shield is it has a lot more personality and it's really open, not a linear path. Also, this one doesn't have hop, which is a major W. LOL. Other than that, I appreciated a lot of things Sword and Shield did. For example, giving experience to all your Pokemon, even if they didn't fight. I hate grinding. Looking forward to Heart Gold and then Black or White and their sequels.
One that's not Sword and Shield should be hype. It's the best one.
Yeah. I'm also excited about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl just because I'm sure I've said it on here before, but it'll just be fun to have just a classic Pokemon game to just for the comfort food of classic Pokemon.
Yep.
Continuing on, said, have either of you played God of War for the PS4? Am I the only one who thinks it's very boring?
I downloaded it on my PlayStation 5.
Nice.
But I did not play it because I'm upset with my PlayStation 5 right now. It's in the doghouse. I'll turn it on eventually.
I've not played it. It is one that I think I would have thought looked interesting. Like I'd probably play that and I don't know, the other typical ones, Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff. Actually, I don't know that I'd play Horizon Zero Dawn to be honest, because
Horizon Zero Dawn, it's cool.
Okay, yeah. So maybe
I didn't beat it yet though. Because I bought it when it first came out and Breath of the Wild came out 3 days later. And I was like, I'm gonna finish this game when I could play that.
Yeah.
So I did exactly. But eventually, once I hate my PlayStation 5 less, I'll do that.
Oh, and then lastly, finally, I saw someone ask, what's the worst US state? And out of 24,000 comments,
I saw that on Reddit.
I couldn't find a single comment that didn't say Mississippi. Do you agree?
I've never been to Mississippi. But I wouldn't, that doesn't surprise me. Literally any Southern state could be said and I wouldn't be shocked. Because Southern states, they got some stuff going on down there. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But I would have thought it would have been Florida though.
I would have kind of thought so too. Maybe people assume there's more redeeming qualities. Like Mississippi's maybe kind of one note, whereas Florida is a little bit
like Florida is more of the meme answer. It's like lol, Florida.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know.
Florida has Miami.
Worst state, probably Pennsylvania, honestly. I can't believe anyone would live there. That's crazy.
I agree. Trash.
Just kidding. My grandparents are there and you're there. So, and Pete's there. There's a couple of good things going on.
True.
Yeah, I truly don't actually have an answer to this, but sure, we'll say Mississippi because why not? I feel like I'm supposed to say Kentucky because I'm in Tennessee or something like that. I don't know. Or Alabama. No, Alabama.
Lived in that I've lived in Florida free. But again, I'm not going to go against the Mississippi thing because like from what I saw, I'm like, yeah, Mississippi kind of mid.
Yeah. There you go. Zach Thomas said, Shadow dropping Axiom Verge 2 was pretty cool. Hollow Knight Silk Song would be nice, obviously, but I'm curious what Playdead has been working on since Inside.
Yo.
Wow.
Same.
Moving on to Twitter. Falcon said, did we really not see you there or were you never there to begin with? It's from the intro to my video.
Oh, I didn't get to see it. I didn't see it yet. I don't understand that reference.
Pretty sure I don't even exist. So.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep. What a world we live in. And then last from Twitter, Steven from Flip Screen Games. Go check out Flip
This
Screen.
man said his whole government. I've never called him Steven in my life.
So Steve said, which games were you, 1, hoping to see but didn't, 2, expecting to see but didn't, 3, surprised to see?
Sports Story.
And then said different games if you can think of them. So you got to think of different games.
Hoping to see but didn't, Sports Story.
Yeah.
Expecting to see but didn't, Shadow Knight Dig. Surprised to see.
Did you say Shadow Knight Dig?
Yes, I did. Shovel Knight Dig. Surprised to see. What was I surprised to see? I don't think I was surprised to see anything.
Maybe
the Jet Set Radio thing. I don't think I heard about that before. So maybe that.
It's hard to say because, like, as far as expecting to see things or whatever, like, my expectations are firmly set, and we are not going to see repeats of more than maybe one game. So the fact that we saw like 4 or 5 that we'd already seen before was surprising in and of itself. So I was legitimately surprised. I mean, Axiom Verge 2, I think, had been kind of leaked that it was going to be coming back. Eastward, I've been following Chucklefish, so like, it seemed like it was likely that maybe we could be seeing something, but I wasn't expecting it. I mean, and there's a bunch of games like hoping to see, would have loved to see Silk Song. Obviously easy, but also, Sports Story. And then there's honestly a bunch of indie games that have been announced before that just like we haven't seen in forever. Like, I'm just looking at the list here. Samurai Gun 2 was forever ago that they showed it, and nothing's happened with it. King of the Hat, same thing. And then some other ones. So wouldn't have been surprised to see some of those, but I don't know.
That cafe game or whatever come out.
The Fisty-Fluffs one where you're fighting?
No.
Or
it was like a
I know what you're talking
something
about.
cafe. I don't remember what the game's called.
I do remember what you're talking about. I'm looking to see if I can find it somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, it better be coming out, because that's probably game of the year right there, you know?
No, that's the bear game.
True. Bear and Breakfast. Yeah, I think that's...
I don't remember what the game's called, but it was
I don't either.
Momoko or it started with a Mo or something and ended with
with a Mo. All right, that's all the questions from there. And then lastly, we've got some Discord questions from you guys who are listening right now. Let's see. Trev said, why couldn't AJ get his limeade? He didn't say why.
Because I forgot. And then I was like, so we came in to freaking Fogo de Chao, and we were sitting at the bar, and everybody was getting lit, except for me. And I was like, I don't want to order something to drink here, because then we're going to go sit down, and I got to carry drinks. But I carried juice drink anyway. So I was like, well, I should have got a drink. And then we sat down, and then they were like bringing our food and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, did you guys want drinks? And I was like, sure, why not? But what's good? And then they brought me the same drink that you've got. And I was like, all right, well. Nice. And then at the end of it, I was like, freaking limeade. I forgot. I should have got limeade. But we were already leaving. So I didn't want to be like, wait, guys, I got to get my limeade before we leave.
Yeah, right.
So
you could have just gone through Sonic. They have limeade. That's what you're talking about, right?
Not same? Brazilian limeade.
Oh, I'm positive. Yeah. So sorry you didn't get your limeade, or you're Korean.
So sad. I'm less sad about that. That just means that the New York trip was a myth. That's all that means.
That's true. Sardi asks, were you getting a Steam Deck? I forget. If yes, do you find Steam sales more tempting even many months away?
I debated it when they first announced it, decided against it because I think it looks ugly. And not super ergonomic, no matter how many journalists are like, this is actually quite ergonomic. It looks, no, I'm good on that. But also no, on the Steam sales. And there's something to be said for just like, I also just like Nintendo. Like the form factor of the Switch is a big thing. Like that's, if it weren't that, I would still have gotten the Nintendo console, but I wouldn't be playing it as much as I
do, which even now is not very often at all.
The handheld form factor is a part of it. Like if Xbox or Sony came out with like a Switch equivalent or whatever, I would buy that in a second, because I also like a lot of their exclusive games. But there's not many games on PC that I'm like, yo, I would buy a PC for this. It's usually just like, I would play this if I had a PC, but that's not active enough for me to want to buy one. It's not even active enough for me to install Windows. Like I have a computer that is more than powerful enough to run any PC game that's out right now at decent settings, but I refuse. Like
I think there's so many games, like most Steam type games that I'd be really interested in fall in the same camp as the games that are on the Switch eShop that I really want to pick up, but just haven't and don't. Like I've wanted to play Hyper Light Drifter for the longest time, but I'm playing other things now instead, so like, and so I'm just like waiting for a lull and then I'll play Hyper Light Drifter, that kind of thing. But I think that's kind of the way Steam is to me as well. And like, I have an Xbox at this point, and there's tons of great games on Game Pass, and I still don't play it very much. Just like bias or not, or whatever it is, this fly, get out of here, go home.
Yo, he's trying to listen in.
That's true. He's like, I can't hear AJ's side. So I think, no, I'm not getting this Steam Deck.
Did you tell him to go home?
I did. I told him to go
know where
home.
he was born. He might have been born there.
Oh, he wasn't born here. He was not born here. You
don't know that.
No, you're right. So yeah, not getting a Steam Deck. But what are you, Sardi? I'm curious. Are you? Maybe you already answered that. Alec asked, "What do I do tomorrow afternoon now that I've already heard the podcast?" Also, did you guys have fun doing this live? For the first part, that's a real thing. I get that. There's definitely some activities where like I need a podcast to mow. And then sometimes, not recently, I'm behind on podcasts, but
did you listen to Flip Screen Games podcasts?
I listened to they do. I listened to Nintendo Noise already. I haven't listened
to the
Flip Screen Games one.
I listened to the Flip Screen Games one. I didn't listen to the Nintendo one yet.
Wow. We're together, we
listen to it combined together.
Exactly. So, but I have to mow at some point, and
so there you go.
It rains today.
You're better at giving advice for that for me. Than I am, because you're the one that has gone through the transition of having a podcast to listen to, and then you're on the podcast. So why would you listen to it? So you got to recommend.
If you're legitimately asking, nothing, just sit around and look at the I'm just kidding. No, as far as like, I still enjoy, there's still a number of podcasts that I enjoy listening to within the Nintendo space and stuff, but it's a little bit redundant some of the time, but I just like the people. But it's the NVC,
just go on their podcast, dude. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just we're gonna take over all the podcasts.
I do guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That'd be fun. You should do that. Also, but yeah, second part of that. Did you guys have fun doing this live?
Yes.
Yeah.
The chat is a big buff, I think. You just got to get better at like incorporating it in a way that, which I don't know. People that were not in the chat, let us know.
Yeah.
Did we talk to chat too much?
Yeah, because like what we don't want is for anybody to feel excluded. So like if you're in chat and we're ignoring you, we don't want you to feel excluded because we're ignoring you. But also if we're just talking to chat, then it can feel to if you're listening after the fact. Like exactly.
To anybody.
So that's that's the goal, some kind of happy medium of the two. So we'll see how that's done. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. You guys' comments were good. Even the ones that I didn't respond to, like I have it up and I just keep looking at it. So like, you guys said a lot of funny things and insightful things, some of which we just didn't say. More questions down here. I think Sardi said I ordered the 512 model. I already have a backlog on PC, but my carpal tunnel doesn't allow for long play sessions at the desk. Oh, I can't even imagine playing at a desk, honestly. On a PC, that's kind of what you do, but like
that's why I don't do it.
Yeah,
Well, I do play at my desk my regular video games sometimes
I don't.
when I stream.
There's definitely. I also don't have like a particularly comfy gaming chair or something like that too. But like, no, I'm a big fan of lounging, and sitting at the desk doesn't really allow for
If
that.
you got to drink, you had to carry mine and yours. True. That's a good point.
Very true indeed. But yeah, I think that's about it. So
No, there was another question.
Was there?
The Smash Brothers fighter wrong
Oh
answers
yeah.
only.
How did
Goku.
I? Smash Bro Fighter and me costumes wrong answers only. Oh
Goku.
Yeah.
Goku and Piccolo.
Krillin. Is
You
Krillin a
can't pick
character?
the same freaking franchise as me, dude.
Well, I was gonna say Krillin before you said Piccolo. So who?
It's still the same franchise. I said Goku first.
Okay. Gohan. All right, we got.
Oh my god. That's Isaac from Golden Sun.
Yeah, I maybe this week. I'm planning on doing a Golden Sun video. It's been in the back of my mind for a while. But the problem. Okay, so inside baseball. I talked to Xeon from Nintendo Life, and a while back he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to join on a Golden Sun video." And then I mentioned, I think I'm going to do it in the next little bit. And he was like, I don't know if I can right now. So you can just go ahead and do it without me. And that kind of thing. So I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and write the script, have it, and then give it to you. If you want to add something, cool. If you don't want to add something, totally also cool. And then he was like, all right, cool. Sounds good. But that means I need to write a script in enough advance. And I keep having like, just being so busy that my videos get done, the day before, something like that. So I need to prepare a little bit more. So that's the problem with Golden Sun videos. Like I probably might have already done it by now. I was waiting for some things to happen.
I would definitely say that that's something that like just chip away at. Like it doesn't even have to be a thing where you like set aside, like, all right, now's the time that I'm setting aside to write the Golden Sun video. It's like I have an idea for a paragraph. I'm going to write that paragraph and then never touch it again.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened with the last video that I did, where most of the video that I wrote was from the initial Pokemon Unite video, and then I was like, this is too long. So I just like cut out all of the stuff about like the inverse idea for the initial video, and then I just put it in a separate doc. And then when I came home from New York, I was like, I don't want to think about anything. So I just like mostly just wrote around that skeleton, and then that's the video that we got.
There it is. Yep. Yeah, so I'll probably be working on that, but it's not going to happen for this week specifically. But I don't know. We'll see whatever does happen for this week. And to go back to the original question, Smash Fighters, I think Mario.
You know,
yep, they're going to announce Mario as the last character.
That's true.
First and last.
That whole Mario thing. Never mind. Never mind.
It's Mario Lopez though from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, it was like one of those Marios, like the singer Mario.
Yeah, right. That would be very fun. Live action Mario. Super Mario World Mario. Yeah. Honestly, it'd be cool to have a character that's, I mean, I guess
that's already in the game.
Closest to this. Well, like that. But like, I was gonna say, have a character that's not a 3D model. I mean, obviously, would still have to be a 3D model in some regard, but like, a pixelated character or something like that. I mean, kind of fun. Maybe it wouldn't be fun at all. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Characters would probably be bad or toxic. There's only two possibilities.
It's true.
But anyway, that's the show.
I think so. Yeah. If I'd watched What If, then we talk about that.
Yeah, we can't talk about it though. Can't talk about it because you didn't watch it. So
nope. So what did you think? Good, bad, different?
Who, me?
Yeah.
That was cool. It was all right.
Okay.
It was all right. I don't really care about Captain America stuff though. So
I know. Yeah.
I'm like Captain America. There's literally nothing I care about less than Captain America.
Yeah. I think it's having rewatched some of the other properties, like when I rewatched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I was like, okay, I like Captain America better than I thought I did, character wise, whatever. But just as a superhero, I don't care about Captain America because it's just not. It's not as fun, Like that's pretty much it. He doesn't have any. He's a strong guy with personality
He's even
and
more
stuff.
boring Superman.
Yeah. So yeah, I know there's some Captain America stands out there for sure. And I think like we've talked about too before, like it's
I'm sorry,
seeing
Kate
someone
likes
with
Kate likes Captain America.
like, but watching, but yeah, the America part is like, it's hard to be super up on America. And I mean, this is especially coming from someone who lived overseas most of his life, doesn't specifically feel like, apple pie American or whatever, but like, especially after last year. And I mean, before then too, but like very presently after last year, anytime I see an American flag, I'm just like, oh, which is like, there's
gross.
nothing wrong with America being, like whatever, like it doesn't inherently mean something, but I associate it too easily with, with just a lot of not great stuff. So
yeah.
Youth says, just know I'm refraining from expressing my negative views on Captain America / the us in general.
Same. Anyway, we did it. We did the thing. YouTube, podcast services, do all the stuff. Tell a friend, share it. It's a good time. I'm going to end the podcast on that end. Goodbye.
Cool.